Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us on another crazy, wild, insane, death-defying edition of Crime and Sports, as always. Hope you enjoyed last week. Paul Spadafora.
Wow, man.
Well, we haven't had somebody who both shot his possibly pregnant girlfriend and tried to beat up his mom.
Yeah.
And for a bonus, stabbed his brother. What the hell? Throw that in there, too. It's just anybody close to him, watch out. We got a message from somebody that said they actually work with him.
Right now?
Right now. And they said that they've heard his story, but don't know all of his story, and they were looking very forward to hearing the episode.
Steer
I was
clear of
like,
that
you're
fella.
don't be related to him in any way is the rule here. Thank you guys this week for everything you do for us, especially your reviews, Apple Podcasts, that purple icon. They help. The reviews help.
Yeah.
We don't know why.
Yeah.
They help drive you up the charts, which is, how you get seen and how more people will listen to you, and your show gets bigger. That's how it works. So if you want to help us out, you can do that very easily by going to Apple Podcasts, that purple icon there. Give us a review. Doesn't matter what you say.
No.
You're not going to fix us with words.
Never.
You can never make us feel better. We don't like ourselves, and there's nothing you can do about that. So
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault. So 5 stars. Say you're following instructions. They told me to do this. It doesn't matter what you say. It's just for business purposes. Also, go to shutupandgivememurder.com today for everything small town murder and crime and sports related. We have all the merchandises there, t-shirts and everything you want, mugs and tote bags. But more importantly, Crime and Sports live show, Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes.
What is it? April the 8th,
Yeah.
I believe. April 8th, Nashville, Tennessee, 2020, in the year of our Lord 2020. April 8th, Nashville at Zanies. There will be live Crime and Sports, Small Town Murder the night before, Crime and Sports that night. So that right now, we have Phoenix that's sold out, and then we have 6 months later on the books, another live Crime and Sports. So if you want to see Crime and Sports, that's where you do it. You're going to do it in Nashville. That's a great little club, too. We're gonna
good.
We're going to have a ball in there. That's going to be crazy. There's going to be it's going to be wild.
Pandemonium.
So, pandemonium, we'll tell you, like Gorilla Monsoon would say. Pandemonium. Cut the excitement with a knife. So that's how that works there. Also, if you want to be an even bigger supporter of the show and a hero of the show, really, you can do that very easily by going to patreon.com/crimeinsports or head over to PayPal and use our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com. And you can get to both of those places from where, Jimmy?
Oh, shutupandgivememurder.com.
That's the place. There it is. It's all laid out right there.
I go there a lot looking at our tour dates so that I can go book hotels and shit.
I know. So where are we when? Jesus, I don't. That's what we always say. Like, we're there when we're struggling for a date.
I'll look in my fucking hotel app. I'll
we
find
don't
out.
know. We're not positive when we're anywhere. So we're trying
My
our
phone will
best.
tell me when I have to be at the airport.
Oh boy, they're telling me I need to check in for a flight. I guess I got to leave tomorrow. That's a problem. So, yeah, that's how that works. By the way, sorry about the Tebow rant last week. The episode ran long.
How great is that you were having so much fun you forgot to be mad?
I forgot to be mad because Spadafora, I didn't forget about it, but the episode was running long. We were at about 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I'm like, I can't do it now.
Oh, so you knew.
Oh, I knew. Yeah, it was too long.
I completely spaced it.
No, I knew it. I had it in my
day.
notes, and I was like, no, I can't because it was just too long. So I'm like, we'll save it for this week, and it's a perfect episode for this. It's a perfect one for this one. It's going to put it right in there.
Okay.
It'll be very nice. It fits with it. It's a football episode, so it'll fit right in there with it, and
perfect.
Goes along with it. The theme is perfect on here. Let's get right to it. Let's get down to business. Let's talk about our superstar of the hour here, let's say. It is Nate Newton.
Oh, from the Cowboys.
You know Nate Newton. Everybody out there, you might know Nate Newton from like weight loss commercials and shit like that, because he's a big fat guy that was on the Cowboys. No other way to describe him. He's a giant man, and he lost a lot of weight in the last 10 years and was on commercials. And he plays the, like, I'm this happy fat guy. That's his role. Like, I'm roly-poly and real happy, and, I'm a funny, jolly fat guy. That's his role.
Right.
I'm not anything bad.
I'm not a vicious monster.
I'm not a monster. Right. And then you hear a story and you're like, oh God, you're a terrible person. Fat can't.
He has like a super blocked out flat top, right?
No, he for a while probably in the late 80s, maybe. Yeah, because he was around since the 86 on the Cowboys. Right. So I think so.
I see him with a blockhead.
Maybe then, but
a weird looking haircut that you're shocked that it fits in a round helmet.
Yeah. How would that fit? It's got to be smushed. Take the helmet off, it pops right back into form. You're like, that's amazing. That's awesome. You got that shit trained to work for you.
It's not even leaning like Gumby. It's perfect.
It's beautiful. I love that, man. That's awesome. That's good stuff. So let's talk about him. Let's do it. It's Nathaniel Newton Jr.
Of course.
Of course of course he is.
Right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. He's swinging. He's breaking rules. He'll break all the rules, old Nathaniel Newton Jr. He breaks every crime and sports rule that we have that's humanly possible. He'll break it, and starting right away with a rule he couldn't help, but he still broke it nonetheless.
Not his control.
Junior. Don't worry, he'll break it again later. That's okay. Born December 20th, 1961, Nate is here. He grows up down in Florida.
Oh.
He's a Florida guy, like a lot of football players are.
Florida man.
A lot of football players grow up in Florida here. 1963, he's born in 61. In 63, his brother is born. He has a brother named Tim. Tim will also play in the NFL.
Really?
Tim, he's a defensive lineman, but he's kind of a nondescript guy. He plays for Minnesota, Tampa, and Kansas City over 8 different seasons, and kind of from about 82 to 90. So you wouldn't know like a second-tier defensive lineman from that time, probably. He wasn't anything dominant or anything.
He's one of those guys that's just like the quintessential NFL, like plays the NFL and then goes away, and then he just like contributes to the average.
That's exactly.
He's a statistic.
He's a statistic. He's a backup. He's a guy that kind of comes in and he comes and goes, and you go, who was that? Was Tim Newton was playing there? Okay, I didn't know who the hell that was. It's one of those guys. Nondescript would be a good way to describe him here. Now, Nate grows up in Orlando. His father, Nate Sr., of course, runs a gas station.
Really?
Yeah, he runs a gas station, which is interesting. Nate will later say his mom was was an alcoholic and really didn't have much responsibility with the kids. The father raised the kids pretty much, is what he says later on. Yeah, his mother was a little too drunk for that, is what he tells his
Did Dad own the gas
wife.
Station?
I believe so.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then he expanded this gas station later on, and they sold like food, and like they made it like a mini mart. Also, like from a gas station.
Florida bodega.
Kind of a little Florida bodega in Orlando there. And you know what? We've been to Orlando. Put up whatever you want on the side of the road. It's not going to help or hurt it. It really isn't. It just isn't. Not much you can do could. It's Disneyland and a bunch of strip malls, and Disney World and a bunch of strip malls, and very many old people.
Even the airport's all Disney.
It's all everything.
Everything's Disney.
Oh, and it's all kids. The airport lines are like Disney lines.
Yeah.
It's just parents that look really tired with kids hanging off them with fucking stuffed Dumbos and shit and bags dragging behind them.
They cannot wait to sit their fat ass on an airplane and get the fuck out of this town.
I love watching that, and I'm just like, what a nightmare when you don't have kids and you're traveling. When we were in Orlando, we're leaving and we're watching these people on these lines are an hour long with all these kids, and I'm like, oh God, just kill yourself.
No, I don't.
Just leave. Move to Orlando.
You
live in Orlando now. That's it. If you left them, eventually they'd return them to you. That's the thing. It's not like they just let them live at the airport. They'd pick them up and they go, who do you belong to? And there'd be some court proceedings, but eventually you'd probably get them back. Be a lot easier than dealing with them at the airport. That's all I'm saying here. So he has his mother's a school teacher too, which is even odder. That she would be kind of a non-functional.
Wow.
Yeah,
she's an alcoholic she's done with kids. I don't know. Maybe she's like the fucking mechanic that doesn't want to work on cars when he gets home.
I guess so. The only thing I can think is, I know he told this to his future wife. So he hasn't said this publicly, but he told her, and then she wrote this book that we'll talk about later on. Oh, boy. Did she write
the
a book?
horrors of her life.
Oh, boy, did she write a book. Let me tell you something.
How great is that?
Discuss that. Man.
He doesn't discuss his mom, but she sure in the fuck does.
If you're going to be mean to your spouse, make sure they're fucking illiterate. make sure they're not lettered, because they're going to write a book about you.
That's amazing.
If you're famous. So he has a sister and 3 brothers total here. And like I said, his other brother plays in the NFL on the defensive line. So big people we're talking about. These are all big people.
5 giant people.
It's a lot of big people. And he's 6'2", and he's I mean, his weight varies, but he says his ideal weight when he plays is 335.
My word.
That's his where he's the most agile and he's still strong and shit like that. He talks about he gets down to at one point 295.
And he felt like a meth head.
He said that there was a play and Howie Long threw him off the line and
no kidding
tossed him back into the quarterback, and he was like, "Oh, that's not going to work. I need another 30, 40 pounds on me." He goes, "That's not what I'm looking for." Yeah,
335. That's so much man.
That's a lot of dude.
That's
man.
so much man.
So much, and that's his ideal weight.
Yeah.
That's not in his heavy days, as we'll talk
that's
about.
That's what he'd like to be.
Yeah.
This is goal weight.
Wow, I'm telling you. So Nate plays he's a athlete. He just plays he's a very athletic guy. He's one of those guys, he's like a Chris Farley, where you're like, how's that fat guy move around like that? That's how he is.
Why is he so fast?
It's those guys who were genetically meant to be fat, and they can move because it's just their body knows how to handle it. They're like Dusty Rhodes or something, where it's like, dude, big, fat, out of shape looking guy can run around for an hour. It's just and that's a weird thing.
That's majestic to me too, but the most majestic thing to me is somebody that's that big and can fucking dance. That blows my mind.
I knew a guy I used to do some comedy stuff with way back in the day. This guy, he was 560 pounds.
Jesus God.
He's 6'5", 560 pounds. Big fat Italian guy.
Yeah.
Could dance his ass. He had
Isn't that amazing?
The lightest steps. And you were like, he could tap dance and shit. And you're like, are you kidding me? He broke a shoe, Jimmy. He broke a dress shoe. We were out. He was dancing. He broke a dress. He goes, "Oh, I broke my shoe." He snapped it in half. I've never seen that before. I've never seen a dress shoe snap in half before, just under the weight of this man. But light on his feet like a feather. It was amazing. So Nate's that kind of dude.
Meanwhile, I'm 170 and I look like I'm having a seizure.
It's
embarrassing.
I think if you're fat, you get a little leeway too, and it makes you.
Yeah. Well, you got to guide the momentum around, and you're used to that in the day anyway.
They're impressed you're not falling over if you're 335 pounds. They expect you to be able to do something. They saw your little ass, they'd be like, you better get down on the floor and fucking spit on your head and do some shit, because
I can't do
you're
that.
Weak.
I can have a little bit I can figure it out, but I'm not on a show.
No, that's the funny thing.
That'll never happen.
Go on fucking shows. Why would you do that
I don't
to
have
yourself?
that talent.
Why would you do that to yourself? Go on, dance on TV. Why? So you have a job? Get a job.
Honestly.
What are you doing?
Well, that's what it is. They don't have jobs anymore, so that's what they get into.
Get a job. Doing anything that's less embarrassing than that. You see people like Emmett Smith on there.
Yeah.
He didn't need to do that. He's got money.
Yeah.
He can get jobs broadcasting.
There are NFL players that are playing today that have still been on that goddamn show.
They have a job.
They have one, and they're still doing it.
I don't get it. I don't understand.
Because their agent talked them into it.
Well,
their agent's like, you can make a lot of money.
It's good for endorsements.
Wink, wink. I mean, I can make $35,000 if you get your ass on this show.
That's what I mean. It's a lot of endorsements, too, because you're going to be known to America. Oh, what a sweet guy. I love him.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy whatever granola bar
Charming
he's telling
ass
me
smile.
to. Yeah.
I'll buy that Powerade.
That's what it is. So he plays football, basketball, and wrestled in high school, and did the shot put as well.
Oh, again with this shit.
Yeah, he looks like a guy who should be doing a shot put. He's a big anchor.
Shot put a Volkswagen.
That's what I mean. And then chase it down and eat it afterwards. Just put some A1 on it and start carving it up.
And waltz that fucker to the goddamn showers.
So, football, basketball, wrestled. So he does all sorts of shit. Basketball, he must have been a beast under those boards in high school. He'd bump you out of the way with his girth here.
He's got a lot of advantage.
That's a lot of advantage here. He'd work in his father's store. He says that he liked to stay home a lot. He was kind of a loner. He wasn't really, big in the social scene, which is weird because later on he's all about about this. His whole life is the social scene.
He is a social scene.
We'll talk about we're going to touch on a little bit of the 90s cowboy stuff. We're going to keep it mainly to Nate because the rest of that stuff will be more in a Michael Irvin episode. Then we'll get into because that's where he was the one that was the ringleader of all that shit. So we'll get into that then. But there's some stuff we'll talk about. We'll talk a little about the White House, if you know what that is, and some shit like that.
Man's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's oh boy, is he he's on TV like every day. Bad person.
That man's a face of the NFL.
Michael Irvin,
a piece of shit.
Fucking bad guy. Just a bad guy. And I'm not even talking about, there was a lot of false allegations against him too and shit like that, but that stuff was fine. The stuff that he definitely did do was horrible. He's a horrible person. Just a terrible narcissist.
The awesome part is that even in his Hall of Fame acceptance speech, he admits it. He's
he's a terrible guy.
I don't deserve this shit.
He's an awful
going to make a
person.
face of me?
He's an awful person. Everybody bitches about Lawrence Taylor being in and not him. It's like, calm the fuck down. Lawrence Taylor never stabbed one of his teammates with that never happened. Okay. One thing that never fucking happened. He was, no, don't even. Sorry. I get, whatever. But anyway, so that annoys the shit out of me. So I just hate the sanctimonious fucking wear the big cross around your neck talking about Jesus all the time. And it's like, that you're a coke fiend who's going out with 5 whores tonight.
Right.
Stop talking about Jesus. I don't care that you're a coke fiend that goes out with 5 whores. None of my fucking business.
Right.
Do whatever you want.
Business.
Yeah.
Don't be a hypocrite
and I'm
about
talking self-described whores, as not self, or what he would call whore. I got 5 whores tonight is what he would say, as we'll talk about. That's I guess I should have prefaced that. That's they don't even call this team. They don't even call women. They don't call prostitute a prostitute or whatever. They call women that they hang out with whores, just as a blanket term. The 90s Cowboys.
That is awesome.
In general. So yeah, it's really a weird time and place. We'll put it that way. So, he said he was never he never hung out with, got in trouble, never hung out with gangs or any of that shit. He was just kind of a loner, did his own thing. And he's so big that people would leave him the fuck alone.
Yeah.
They're not going to start messing with him on purpose. Big dude like that. Yeah. So, he goes to Jones High School in Florida. Then like I said, he plays a bunch of sports. He played fullback until his junior year.
Okay.
Imagine him coming at you with the ball. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Or him blocking. That's pretty good stuff. I mean, because he's quick on his feet as a guard later on. He's really good at pulling, which is you have to be pretty, you have to be good on your feet to do that. The
shadow sidestep is a pain in the ass to do.
It's hard
as you're moving backward
and around other people.
Right.
I mean, it's not easy for 300
a man in front of you.
For 300-pound men to pull like that. You have to be very agile, and he can do it. So, but he ends up moving to the defensive line when he's just so big that they're like, Jesus Christ, man, you just stand in the middle. You'll catch anything. You'll just grab people as they run by. Just stick your arms out. Yeah. That's half the line covered right there. You're huge. So he was heavily recruited actually by Division I colleges. Really heavily recruited. Arizona State he thought was pretty cool. They were all up in his shit. Sure. ASU.
Did he play for SEC school?
Not even. No, really? He doesn't even play for. He plays for a very small school.
What?
He ends up. Apparently Frank Cush was the one recruiting him, and anybody who knows anything about Frank Cush, he's known as the ultimate asshole disciplinarian coach. Not like the asshole that the players love because they won and they taught him a lesson. Like, he's not Bear Bryant.
No.
That the players are like, you know what, he was right. Later on, they're like, yeah, he's a fucking asshole. Period. He was just a dick.
And we named everything at this college after him.
He's a narcissistic lunatic, Frank Cush. That's all he is.
Well, good for him because he's got a stadium, he's got a parking lot, he's got streets, he's got buildings. Everything.
I guess he just has nobody else to name shit
after.
That's a good point. It's either him or Reggie Jackson.
Or Walter Cronkite. He had nothing to do with him.
Nothing to do with sports at all. Yeah, and they're still naming shit after him over here. They don't care.
No.
They have nothing else to be proud of, really, let's just say. So what would it be? Jake Plummer fucking stadium? You can't have that. No, that's bad. It's a little rapey.
I mean, you could go with the Barry Sanders. No.
Barry Bonds. That's another guy.
But they didn't name anything after him.
Well, Frank Cush, Barry Bonds, Reggie Jackson. I love Barry Bonds and Reggie Jackson, but those three people all have something in common. They're all assholes. They're all unabashed. They wouldn't deny it. If you said, hey, Reggie, are you an asshole? He'd go, hell yeah, I'm an asshole. I know this for a fact. My fucking family knows him like he's an asshole. That's just how he is. You know, so I don't know what it is about ASU producing talented assholes, but they're
recruiting and just hiring.
They do it like nobody's business, though. Something about the desert here. But he said that he didn't want to deal with Frank Cush's practices and the mountain runs and all that. He's a big guy.
It's 115 degrees in the summer. He's treading him up that goddamn A mountain.
How would you like to be of a darker pigmentation going up a mountain in the middle of the summer weighing 400? Fuck that.
And he's putting extra weight on you. You know that.
Yeah, no, not happening here. So Nate, instead of going to one of these schools, he asked his high school coach to contact Florida A&M.
What?
Which is not a big school. They had not recruited him because they just thought that there's no way they were going to get a guy who Division I schools want. So it's kind of a black school. It's in Florida, so it's not that far away. It's driving distance to his home and shit like that. So he said he went there and, he wanted to go there as soon as he saw the place. He loved it because it was close to home and, all that kind of shit. So, he wanted to stay close to home. That's strike one. Yeah. Crime and sports. Well, strike two
but,
after the junior shit.
Sometimes you can't control one.
You can't control one, exactly. So, and as a sophomore season, he played offense and defensive line.
Jesus.
He played both ways, and then he moved full-time offensive line later on, where he earned all conference honors there and shit. He played right tackle as a senior, so he was very much the big man on campus.
Do you think that was a strategy for him to stand out?
I think for him, I think he didn't want to go somewhere where he didn't know anything about. If you're from Florida and you've never really been outside of Florida, Arizona, especially back then, the world's a smaller place. Like in the late '70s, the world's a bigger place. You don't want to go all the way out to some place you don't know under a coach that you hear is really brutal and all that shit. I think this is just easier. If he goes here, he's going to be a big fish in a small pond. It's close to home. They're going to treat him better because he's going to be a star there. I think that's what I think. It's just an easier path.
I'm shocked he didn't play it like Bama or some shit like that.
I know, as like an 18-year-old kid, I can't say that I wouldn't take the same path. It's just kind of the path of least resistance, I guess. I don't know. A teammate of his said, quote, he was the biggest guy on campus, first of all. Second, this was before guys shaved their heads. Nate's head was shaved. Third, he always wore shorts. It could be the coldest day of the year and he'd be wearing shorts and these businessman's hard sole shoes and these long black businessman socks. He was something to see. Picture this. Big fat guy, bald head, shorts, dress shoes with high, banker socks. What the fuck are you doing? And he's walking around campus like that. That's awesome. That's hilarious. I gotta say. Now, Nate, he says, this is funny as shit. Quote, one thing I've always liked to do is curse. I love that he says that.
I'm in.
I've always liked to curse. It's just like,
I love to swear.
I don't know what it makes me feel warm inside.
It does.
He said, quote, I was cursing once when I was a kid and my father heard me. He told me that when I was big enough and when I was away from home, I could start cursing, but not before. I hit FAMU, which is the school he's going to, and I said, all right, here I am. I'm big enough and I'm away from home.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. Let's get it on, bitches. So, apparently he was a total dick in college. Self-admitted too, a complete asshole, and even Pam Oliver will back that up. The sports reporter went out with his college roommate.
Oh my god!
And basically, Nate was a horrible monster, is what she says. He would just fuck with people, for people he didn't know. He'd just yell shit at people, abusive shit, cursing, talking shit, women especially.
Oh no!
He would like they said he would like talk shit about like that their outfits didn't match and shit like that.
Jesus.
Try to embarrass people.
And cut them to the core.
That's what I mean. Try to embarrass and fuck with people. Not like, his teammates and he sees him and he's like, oh, yeah, haircut's fucked up.
Just walks by a girl. Your top don't match your jeans.
Literally, like, your shit doesn't match. You're fucking fucked up. You don't know what you're doing. Your hair's like, he would like, fuck, you don't do that shit.
Go home and do your makeup, some shit like that.
Yeah, he would say, quote, don't they have a fucking comb in your dorm? Don't they have a hairbrush? That's what he would tell like women who were walking around.
I love a chick that cuts her own bangs. Shit like that.
Yeah, shit like that. Oh, baby, what'd you do? I had 2 a.m. haircuts. Those are great. 2 a.m. haircuts right after a fight with your boyfriend. Good decision. Just grabbed a handful and chopped it off.
Hell yeah.
Looking good, honey. But you don't say that.
No.
You just go, hi.
Yeesh.
And you go, oof. Hope she's
Wait
okay.
till she leaves.
Hope she's okay.
There you go.
That's a cry for help bangs. That's what those are. So a teammate of his, again, the same guy who said that he described his attire, he says, quote, "Here's how bad it got. Nate would go to dinner. He would sit by the door. No one would leave the dining hall because they knew they would have to walk past him. 30 minutes would go by, an hour. It would be 8 o'clock at night and no one would be leaving just because they didn't want to go past Nate."
They didn't want to get roasted?
They didn't want to get roasted by Nate because he would say mean shit in front of everybody about you.
I'm feeling real good tonight. I think I'm just going to stay here.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait out Nate.
I'm going to wait out Nate. Eventually, it's the food hall. You're never going to wait him out. He'll stay there all night. He's like,
eventually
cool.
He's got to piss.
They got food here. Yeah. I'll just stay here for the rest of the... I'll eat bread and absorb it. It doesn't matter. See, I'll just eat more. Yeah. They have Krispy Kremes and shit. So Nate says, though, he says, he realized the path he was on wasn't terrific in the way he treated people. He says, quote, "Something happened, though, that got me thinking. There was this little dude around campus who owed money to this big dude. The big dude told the little dude not to show up at this bar on Saturday night without the money because he'd hurt him bad. Well, the little dude showed up without the money. The big dude came over and they were talking, and this little dude pulled out a .45. He put the gun under the big dude's chin and just blew his brains out, just like that." He said, quote, "The whole thing, you see, happened because the little dude was so scared of the big dude. I got thinking about having people afraid of you. It's not a good way to live. I don't care how bad you are, how big you are, there's someone inside that wants to be liked. Nobody wants to be treated like some kind of leper when he comes around." So that's when he said he's decided to stop fucking with people as much.
When a guy lost his head over it?
Yeah, when he was like, wow, someone could just shoot me because I made fun of their blouse. That's not fair. I should
told her ruffles look dumb.
Shit. Shouldn't have made that comment about using all that product in the hair.
A man got his head blown off, and he's like, no more smart-ass comments.
Maybe I should chill, yeah. Well, he made a good point. If people are afraid of him, that's their only way to get back.
Yeah, the only way of defending yourself is an actual fucking gun.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe
that's crazy.
He doesn't know if he doesn't know if what he's saying will come across wrong, that someone will take it threatening, and that's smart. You shouldn't fuck with people, period. Leave people the fuck alone.
There's a lesson that stands the test of time. That's today,
That's
too.
It. Fuck with your friends. Yeah. That's it. Your friends should be able to take all the abuse you have to dish out. Right. That's what they're there for. They should give it back in spades. That's what I'm saying. But
that's what it is.
Nobody else. That's it. You shouldn't abuse strangers.
It should be earned, like respect.
Yes.
A roasting, just like any comedy roast, it's supposed to be. You're supposed to respect that person.
That's why. Yeah, you can tell when you go around this country. We go around the country. We do live shows, and we can tell honestly, and we swear to God, it's no offense to anybody else, but we can tell certain places have better senses of humor than others. They're just more boisterous comedy crowds, and it'll be said by tons of comedians. So it's not just one. It's not just, maybe
more accepting.
Maybe you had a better show that night. It's just a matter of they're more wanting to laugh. They're more into it certain places. And ball breaking is an art in certain places.
It certainly is.
And they like it.
Right.
If you go to, Philly and you start talking shit, they love it.
Yeah.
They love it.
Tell us more how much this place sucks.
Yeah.
We agree.
That drunk lady trying to crawl on the stage and I tell her shut the fuck up and the crowd cheers like I just hit a home run in the World Series. That's beautiful to me. Like that's something where it's not everyone is from that environment and they might take it as threatening.
Absolutely.
So you never know who you're dealing with, basically. So 1983 comes around. He graduates from college and he's undrafted in the NFL draft in 83. Goes undrafted, but he is signed as an undrafted free agent by the Washington Redskins here in 83. He goes through training camp and he ends up being cut in training camp. He does not make the team. He will later say, quote, "Hey man, I cut myself with the Redskins. I was immature. My mind wasn't right. Coach Joe Gibbs actually called me into his office my second week and told me I had a great opportunity. I wasn't real focused. I was a little wild. I didn't have my mind right." Wow. Which that's later on. That's 25 years later it says that, 2008 or something.
He threw something through a wall.
Well, we'll find out exactly what he did that day because it's worse than throwing something through a wall. Joe Gibbs actually later on said, quote, "I'd say we made a mistake on that one, cutting Nate Newton," which is funny that he could actually say that too. He ends up, final cuts were announced. He made it to the final cuts too, which is heartbreaking because that gives you less time to hook up with another team.
Yeah.
If you get cut halfway through camp, then you have time to hook up with another team and learn their system.
And hope that they've cut somebody that they need you in their position.
They need a lineup. Right. Somebody's got injuries at the offensive line or something. But when you're at the end of training camp, then nobody will sign you usually unless you're like a real good player.
You better be amazing.
Because you don't have any time in training camp to learn their system. Right. So you're fucked, basically.
Even if you rape chicks, they'll
bring you in. Oh, the NFL. NFL, they'll bring you in. Yeah. Yeah, Bill Belichick, sorry. I'm sorry, but they have this fucking, for some reason, this image is like the most upright, upstanding.
Bullshit.
The fucking owners getting jerked off by people, all the fucking, Asian slave immigrants. You got fucking, everybody, they hire every ne'er-do-well shithead in the NFL that fucks up. They're like, well, we'll take him because Tom Brady will turn him around. No. Tom Brady's not going to go home and make sure Antonio Brown doesn't put his dick where it doesn't belong. Right. He's not. It's just not going to happen. On the field.
Or threaten the woman. Clearly, because he did it while he was there. Where was Tom Brady?
Yeah, the threats.
God damn you, Tom.
That's what I mean.
You allowed him to text the woman, you jerk.
If Tom Brady gets the credit for turning people around, then he gets the blame when they threaten witnesses via text message. Sorry, Tom Brady. This one's on you. I blame Tom Brady. That's how much I hate Tom Brady. I'll figure out a way to make that his fault.
I couldn't be happier.
So when final cuts are announced, Nate is visiting one of his relatives in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so he's not there to get cut. Charles Mann, you remember Charles Mann?
No.
From the Redskins? He was Mann. It was Dexter Manley and Charles Mann were the big ones. Charles Mann did chunky commercials.
What?
In the late 80s, early 90s. That's how famous he was. Very well-spoken man. He's a big, giant guy. Very well-spoken. I like my chunky soup now. Yeah. Great player, though. Great. I think it was number 71, I want to say. Great player.
Line also then.
Defensive lineman, yeah.
That's where Dexter was, right?
Yeah. They were both on the line. Mann and Manley were just monsters together. They were so good. Charles Mann, though, I think he's a Hall of Famer, Charles Mann.
Amazing.
Great player. He was Nate's roommate, and he said, quote, I remember being relieved that it wasn't me, because they came and knocked on the door. That they asked for your playbook and all that shit, and he was like, oh, fuck, when they knock on the door, that's a bad thing. Yeah. So he said, it was Nate. He said, I remember being relieved that it wasn't me, and then being devastated for him because we were real close. I didn't know how I was going to tell him. Then he had to call him and tell him, hey, dude, you got cut.
Because he wasn't there?
Because he wasn't there, which sucks. So he said Newton called him from near Pittsburgh around midnight, and I guess he stopped along the way, and Jesus Christ, the rental car he was driving too, he only had because Charles Mann rented it for him because he didn't have any credit cards to rent a car with Nate. So he says he called in to check on the cut situation, and Newton said, quote, they cut me, didn't they? Like he just
knew.
He knew it. So he said, quote, Mann says, quote, he didn't take it too well.
No.
And we'll find out how not well he took it.
My man, I've been fired while I was out of town before.
Not cool.
That is you have to drive back to get fired.
You know what I mean?
But you already know you're fired. It's fucked up. Mm-hmm. That is the worst feeling. I feel like you're going to shit your pants the whole ride.
And all you've been working toward is this. Your whole, now you're screwed. So he says, quote, I guess he actually got a case of beer along the way and then proceeded to drink that on the way back. I had
that thought too. I was driving a company truck. I'm just like, I may as well just pick up a fucking road soda. What's the difference?
I guess if you're feeling that down, he ended up, Charles Mann goes to sleep, and he's awoken by a phone call telling him that Nate Newton was in a horrible car accident and is in the hospital.
Oh, my God.
He was apparently speeding. He missed a turn near the Redskins. He was close to the hotel, the team hotel.
It's always the last couple of miles.
Yeah, he flipped the car and was thrown from it.
Oh, my
That's
God.
a lot of man to be thrown from anything. The police were following him because they saw that he was drunk, and they were following him, and he was, they ended up finding him on the asphalt, half dead looking. They didn't know if he was dead or what. So that's... they were like, that guy looks drunk. Oh, shit, he's definitely drunk as the car flips through the air and a giant man sails through the night looking like E.T. going across the full moon and shit. Like, this is not okay. Wow. So Nate, he says, quote, I fell asleep at the wheel. Oh,
no, you didn't. You passed out, bud.
Well, that's what he says. Yeah. He says, I bought a few beers and I pulled over and went to sleep, and I woke up and continued on. I guess I was a little more tired than I thought. I was speeding, and I remember I woke up and there was water on the right and a little hill on the left. I knew I wasn't going into that water, and I turned the car real quick up toward the hill. And the next thing I knew, I woke up and the police said, stay still, you should be dead. No. Then I woke up again and I was in the hospital. And I guess he suffered, the worst of it was a bruised kidney.
That's it?
The rest of it, he was just, it's
unbelievable.
That girth, I think, honestly protected him from a fall. I mean, it's a padding if you're falling like that.
If he went into the lake, which is probably a softer landing, he would have died.
He would have fucking drowned. Yeah, he would have definitely drowned. So, yeah, so at least he woke up enough to go, don't go in the lake.
Unreal.
Go toward the hill.
Save my own life.
Yeah, hit this. Don't fall into that, which makes sense. Never go toward the water.
Yeah.
This is the funny part about this whole thing got the attention of John Riggins, who is the badass Hall of Fame Redskins running back.
Yeah.
Look up a highlight of John Riggins and you get that slow motion one of somebody like you see like a finger slide off his face mask and pull his jersey down and he's just fucking
still going,
plodding through the mud and busting out. That's John Riggins. He's a badass, and he's also a badass partier.
Really?
Oh, just a prolific partier. So most of the guys were back then.
Yeah.
But he was. He said that this is fucking hilarious. Nate said that this, getting drunk and almost killing himself on the way home after being cut. Nate said, quote, he invited me to a party and he said, quote, I love a guy like you. You get cut from the Redskins and you try to commit suicide.
Let's hang out.
Let's hang out. He literally was like, well, that's a crazy motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll just drink a case of beer and crash my car on the way back. He's like, that's a guy I need to hang out with.
Car accident can't kill him.
That's amazing.
I need him in my entourage.
That's what I'm saying. So he was like, all right, cool. So he's hanging out with the star, the star of the team because the guy loves him because he thinks he's crazy, which he is. So he says he didn't know what to do. He thought football was done, is what he thought. He's like, well, I tried out for the NFL, didn't make it.
Hang out with him still.
Yeah, I guess I can hang out with John Riggins, but outside of that, I need a job. He says, quote, I was just chilling out and I was going to try to get back into school, but I didn't have any money. My agent called and said, hey, what type of shape are you in? I looked at myself and said, well, I'm not in too good a shape.
I got a bruised kidney.
I got a bruised kidney, and, if he's not working out every day for football, he's still eating like he is. So,
Did you check out the news, sir? I almost died.
I flew through. Ever seen E.T.? This was 83. It was just out. Have you seen E.T.? Imagine he was a lot bigger and not on a bicycle. Imagine
not skinny at all.
Fat man cartwheeling through the air. So anyway, he was in good enough shape to be signed by the USFL.
Okay.
Because USFL needed players.
Right.
And if you were a guy who made it to last cuts in the NFL,
you're a star.
You're a USFL player, buddy. So
you're a USFL starter.
You're a starter. And he was. Nate. Yeah. Well, Nate's a guy that doesn't get his due as a player a lot of times. He ended up later on getting his due, but for the first few years in the NFL and even right away in the USFL, they look at him and people go, he's a fat fuck.
Right.
And that's it. Nowadays, you see a lot of guys like that. Right. Back then, an offensive lineman was 250 pounds, 245, 260 pounds. They were not, you look at these guys, there were very few 300 pounds. Yeah. There was none. Remember
now there's so many 400.
When Refrigerator Perry came in, he weighed 330 pounds, and they called him the Refrigerator. They made a huge deal out. 330 is nothing now.
They gave him a nickname that referenced how fucking big he is.
That's what I mean. Right. And Nate is bigger than him. And this is 2 years ahead. Fridge didn't come in until 85. Kidding. So this is 83. So they just looked at him and went, fat fuck.
Yeah.
Which is honestly what
it's fair.
It's what Buddy Ryan said about Fridge too.
That's what
I don't want
said
this
about
fat
Buddy
bastard.
Ryan too.
And he was a fat bastard, all of them. So he signs the Tampa Bay Bandits, who they were one of the really interesting teams of the USFL. If you haven't listened to the show before, I was a huge USFL fan as a kid. So I love football, and USFL was fun, and it was in the spring, so it was more football.
Oh yeah,
I dug it as a kid. It was
great.
We're not
done yet.
Yeah, it was fun, and then I grew up in New York, and we had a team, New Jersey, the Generals there that Trump bought and then ruined the league and destroyed it and broke all of our hearts. So there's a rant on that in some show about not a political one, strictly USFL based.
Strictly breaking poor James's heart as a child.
Breaking my heart. God damn it.
But the
Love
good news is you have so many New Jersey Generals shirts now.
I do. I have a lot of them, which is fucking cool. I've been sent them a lot. But the Bandits were a lot of these teams were losing money because they were competing with NFL teams to sign players, and they were signing. You should hear some of the, Jeff Pearlman wrote a book. I'll reference him twice because he wrote Boys Will Be Boys.
That man follows me on Twitter now because of you. What a sweetheart of a man.
He's a good author too. Yeah. When he does a book on something, a sports book that covers a subject, it's up its ass with a microscope, and it's very impressive.
Right.
The USFL book is Football for a Buck, and it's just a terrific front to back, all the dirt, all the facts, all the everything below and above the surface.
I'm gonna order it tonight.
It's really good, and the audio version's good too.
Great.
And Boys Will Be Boys, he wrote too, which is about the '90s Cowboys and their craziness.
Awesome.
So that's a really good one too. I've read that for this episode, and I read it anyway, but then we did this episode too. So he wrote about the USFL, but Tampa was a different kind of franchise. Tampa was they were actually profitable. Like this, their owner did not compete with the other. He didn't do that. He didn't compete. He had a different philosophy. They called it bandit ball.
Smart.
They had it was a widespread offense where you could beat teams with less talent. That you have less talent, you could still beat a team if you played a certain way. And all the guys were really into it. I mean, they were I think in the top 2 or 3 in attendance in the league. They beat the shit out of the Bucs in attendance.
No kidding.
Oh, they would crush the Buccaneers in attendance. Yeah, they would crush them. They were just going. They were popular.
Going with the whole. We're not the Bucs.
We're not. And Burt Reynolds was part owner of the team, and they gave him a chunk of the team just so he would be, a face. A face. And in 1983, Burt Reynolds was one of the biggest movie stars in the world.
The most recognizable face.
He was a huge movie star,
and he was the Bandit. So that's brilliant.
That's why they named him the Bandit. It's perfect. Yeah. And they had he was married to Lonnie Anderson at the time, and at the time she was considered hot, and they would have her. Well, they would have her on billboards. What? At the time, she was considered hot. She was.
I know.
She was like,
but it sounds hilarious.
I don't
you
mean
know what? She's still hot.
I'm sure she's fine. No, I just
meant she's probably dead. But
in society, I think she's
dead.
In society, she had a lot of Burt Reynolds money, so I think she's probably sustained well.
He just died.
He did.
Yeah.
But she at the time was considered like a hot shit movie.
Yeah.
Like a hot shit. Ooh, look, one of those type of people.
Hire her and you'll sell tickets.
You'll sell tickets. She was on billboards saying, come see the Bandits, like, written across her tits on a billboard and shit like that. Like they were pushing it, and it worked. And so this was a really fun team. All the guys that played for this team really enjoyed it. Nate plays there. He's drafted by the USFL in the territorial draft, as they would draft in their region. So he went to Florida A&M, so he belongs to Tampa.
Okay.
That's how that would work. They have the rights to him to draft him. So he's an offensive tackle there in 84-85. He's doing well. He becomes a kind of a star in the USFL as far as an offensive lineman goes. His brother, meanwhile, is playing in the NFL. His brother was drafted into the NFL, and right around this time, in 1982, his brother Tim is arrested on charges of marijuana possession. Not a big deal. He pleads guilty. It's a misdemeanor, less than 2 ounces. He gets a $50 fine. And the next year, he's arrested for driving under the influence.
Oh, boy.
And then 13 months later, he's arrested again for driving under the influence. This is all while he's playing.
Yeah.
This kind of facilitates him going from team to team.
Sure.
He's kind of known as kind of a, kind of a fuck up a little bit.
Shut him out of town.
A little bit of a tearaway, and it's fine. The weird thing is they totally encourage these guys to go out and carouse and drink and everything, but don't get arrested for DUI.
Don't be a dummy.
Try, but Jesus, don't get pulled over. That's how it would be. It was like, what?
Go fast.
Yeah, what are you thinking?
What are you doing?
Faster.
Why are you sticking around for the cops to find you?
Don't pull over when they put the lights on. When they put the lights on, they expect you to pull up. That's when you gun it. Just keep going.
As soon as he opens that door, haul ass. It'll take him a minute to get back in.
He's got to put it in the park. You got like a 10-second head start. So the league ends up folding after the like we say the Trump debacle. He wanted it was a brief thing on that. He wanted the USFL to move to the fall to compete with the NFL. Didn't really want that. Basically, he wanted to sell out all the other owners and make a deal with the NFL to where they'll allow a couple of USFL teams, incling basically the only one he gave a fuck about was the Generals, and then they won't go to the fall. So it was basically he was trying to threaten the NFL into whatever, and the NFL said, go fuck yourself. We don't want you. He had tried to buy a team before, and Pete Rozelle, the commissioner, who's a total dick, but this is hilarious. He said, as long as I am alive or any of my heirs have anything to do with the NFL, that man will never be anywhere near this league, is what he said after one meeting with him.
Outside of that, you can come watch a game, fuckface.
Fucking hilarious.
Buy an overpriced hot dog and beer.
He said, Trump, it was a power move. He was trying to weasel his way into there, and they said no, and he said, well, we'll sue you in federal court, and the USFL wins the lawsuit, and the jury awards them $3. Or the jury awards them $1, but it's tripled because of the whatever statute. So $1 is what they award him. So they basically
Football
said
for a buck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They basically said, it is antitrust violation, but you also fucked yourself by doing all of this and driving yourself basically out of business to try to strong arm somebody who's too big to be strong armed.
That's some business bullying, and it's ugly.
It's like putting trade tariffs on China that are out of control. It would be crazy. It's like that. But I mean, no one would do that.
Why would you do that?
I'm just kidding. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know anything about the economy. I tried to.
I know my investments.
I'm making a pass.
Eat dicks every time that fucker opens his mouth.
I know your 401k's been in the tank lately, so I don't want to get into that.
Every time that fucker talks, I lose money.
You, Doug Flutie, Herschel Walker, Nate Newton, the rest of the USFL gang. You're not the first person to say that.
Every time he has a goddamn meeting.
And we don't do politics.
No.
We're not talking about politics. We're talking about ruining a league and Jimmie's 401k that may or may not have anything to do with what he's doing. Doesn't matter.
Just go play golf. I don't give a fuck. Just stop talking about money.
Don't talk about money. You're hurting me.
You're making me. My future depends on him buttoning his fucking lip.
You're hurting me. Did he just say beef and broccoli and made a fucking joke about it? He didn't, right? Stop!
Did he mix up the R's and the L's?
I think you fucking
motherfucker.
Did. You did that on purpose. All right. We could go on making fun of anybody forever. So Dallas here. He said, my agent called me again after the USFL folded and I wasn't in too good a shape. Yeah. It's a shocker that he's just he doesn't keep himself in tip-top shape. He said that several teams were interested in him, which was a fact here. The Cowboys here are the first where he goes to camp with the Cowboys, and he said he heard one of the coaches bet that Nate couldn't do 5 chin-ups. Because
that's a lot of weight to pull up 5 times.
He said, so I started the chin-ups and I was struggling, and I went 1, 2, and he was smiling. I did 3, 4, and 5. I looked at him and said, I can do 5. If you said 10, I would have been in trouble. You pulled out 5 anyway. But that's where we're talking about with his physical. This is not the Cowboys of the 90s that you'll think of. This is pre that era, pre Jimmie Johnson. This is Tom Landry still the coach.
Jesus.
Suit, tie,
and a
fedora.
Hat. Yeah.
That's who's on the sidelines.
Wow.
That's what I mean. Totally different era. Steve Pallor is the quarterback. Danny White is the backup.
Jesus.
Yeah. Tony Dorsett is still there. He's about to go to the Broncos later. Herschel Walker comes in this year after the USFL. Too Tall Jones is still playing. Too Tall Jones is playing, man. That's how long ago this was. Wow.
This is the end of all that shit too, though, right?
Yeah. This is the last couple of years of Landry before Jerry Jones buys the team. This Jerry Jones didn't own the team.
He's not even involved yet.
He's not even involved yet. He's in Arkansas fucking trying to speculate on oil.
Unbelievable.
That's what he's doing. So right away, the equipment manager gives Nate this is amazing, gives Nate the nickname The Kitchen because he's bigger than the fridge. So he's The Kitchen, and that sticks with him his whole career.
Really?
That he's The Kitchen.
The equipment trainer.
Yeah, The Kitchen. Because he's the one... And he'll talk about it later on. I got a thing where he talks about how he got there and they didn't have like sweatpants that fit him and shit. Like
this guy's got to order shit.
That's what it was. They got to order special shit here. So he said he kept all the articles, all the articles about how fat he was and shit. He kept them all in the scrapbook. I don't know why.
It's like fuel for the fire.
Yeah, that or just to cry with some Twinkies over at night. It's just like, man, it's so bad. Just here,
like clump,
crinkling
pushing a
wrappers,
loaf of bread down his throat,
crinkling wrappers, and one of those big sub sandwiches with like just ham hanging out of it and salami,
dipping
and
it
shit.
in water to make it slide down his throat.
Like a hot dog eating champion. Well, he is a rib eating champion. We'll talk about that as well. He's an official champion in many aspects here. He says about this whole thing, he's mad about it because he says, this is later on, quote, you look around the league now and every team has one of me. Every team with a good offensive line, at least. I started out as this big fat guy all by myself. It turns out I was the fucking prototype.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
He really was. He was the first guy that went, if a fat guy can move, maybe he's a decent offensive lineman. Maybe girth isn't that bad if he's got feet. He says, the only time it really bothers me is when you come to me and say, I want to do a story on Nate the player, and all of a sudden it's nothing but fat this and fat that. They just give you a whole lot of my fatness, and after a whole page of fat, they give me one lean paragraph about how he can play ball. End of story. That's a killer.
That is pretty brutal.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
More brutal, the Dallas media guide in his rookie year about him said, quote, the only thing, this is in the media guide, this is what, the only thing holding Nate back is his love affair with food.
Unreal.
They said that in the media guide.
Ouch, man.
That is brutal, man.
What the fuck?
Jesus, the picture might as well have had like a hand-drawn hamburger around his head and like a
His whole career, he's just
French fries and a chicken wing. It's the whole thing.
He's lucky he didn't have the Carl's Jr. star on his helmet.
Oh, that's what I mean.
The only guy
That's how he saw it. That's how he saw it.
They put a yellow star on my helmet.
He said,
Everybody else got a blue one.
What teams want me? Dallas? He's colorblind. He's like, that's a Carl's Jr. star on their helmet. I don't care. Maybe he's colorblind. We don't know. He's like, yeah, man. I smell French fries when I see that helmet. Sign me up.
Here's how dumb
Take
I am.
whatever they're offering.
This whole time you're talking about Nate Newton, in my head, I just realized I'm seeing Norton. You know what I'm talking about? Is it Ken Norton?
Ken Norton, the linebacker?
Yes, the big fucking square head.
Whose dad fucking beat Muhammad Ali? No, that is not the same guy. Yeah. I'm thinking Nate Newton. I was like, I never remember Nate Newton with hair. I'm like, maybe in the late 80s.
It's Ken Norton.
He grew a kid and play. Ken Norton had...
Also a junior, right?
Norton Jr. His father fucking was a great boxer and one of the one men alive.
Maybe that's why I'm seeing it.
Maybe, yeah. That is Newton and Norton. Those are way different. And Ken Norton is not fat.
No,
Ken Norton's in svelte. He's a middle linebacker.
He's a great
he was in amazing shape.
When you were saying he got fat and he was fat in high school, I was like, oh, we're about to hear a feel-good story about him getting it together.
Nope. Oh, no. He just gets fatter here. Let's keep...
This is amazing.
He'll get it together in about 25 years. So, love affair with food. Jesus Christ. He does drop 40 pounds in the off season, and he ends up in 87 winning the starting job actually, but a knee injury ends up bringing him down, and then there was a strike anyway that year. It shortens the season, so it didn't matter. He said then that he was at 310, which was a good weight for him at that time. He said, I consider myself too heavy at 340. That was ridiculous. I'm a French fry man. I just had to give those up. So that was him back then. He had arthroscopic surgery on his knee before the players' strike, and he ended up coming back. He can still, at this point, he can dunk a basketball.
Are you kidding me?
He's 6'2", and he can dunk a basketball, which you got to have ups to be 6'2" and dunk a basketball, and to be that heavy.
2 feet.
He's athletic.
Still got to jump a goddamn 18 inches.
Far. And when you look at him, though, you see this fat guy, but everybody says when you get close to him, his fucking legs, and he's like a bodybuilder with a bunch of fat on top of him, basically. They all say he's built like an ox, he's super strong, big muscles and everything like that. He just also eats like a horse on top of everything else. So he did all of this. 1986 season. The good thing here is no stats. He's an offensive lineman. So
we'll run through these.
We'll just run through these quick. We'll just tell you how the team did. He played in 11 games in his rookie season in 86. Team goes 7-9 under Tom Landry. They even had an $80,000 weight loss incentive in his contract.
Really?
Yeah. If you lose this much weight and keep it off, you get an extra bonus of $80,000, which was a big chunk.
Shit, yeah.
Back then, he wasn't making more.
That's a big chunk today.
But I mean, a big chunk of a contract back then for the NFL. I mean, he was probably making $150,000 a year, maybe, to play. So that's, they're saying you're going to get another half of your money on top.
That's smart in them too, because if he keeps that off, that's putting out his longevity of his career longer. And if he's good, you keep that guy around longer. You get that money back.
They think it'll be absolutely. They think that's they think if he's 30 pounds lighter, he's worth $80,000 more to us, right? Because he's a better player. Yeah. That's the way they look at it.
Just making your prize horse more money.
It is. So he says that he once said his ultimate ambition in life was to be able to make French fries like McDonald's.
That's it.
That's his.
I'm on a fucking championship, dude.
Well,
God damn it!
If I could have French fries afterwards. yes.
If you win a championship, you probably make enough money to pay somebody just to be in your house to make those.
He wants to be able to.
He wants to do it himself.
2 a.m. He needs McDonald's French fries. He needs it. So, offensive line coach, a guy named Tony Wise, says that they put Newton on the Jenny Craig diet at this point, right?
God.
They brought him meals.
In an NFL locker room?
Yeah,
Jesus.
He had counseling and all this shit. And he was also, part of the deal was they do it for free, but he has to show up once a week to do promotional shit.
Yeah.
Like for promotional purposes. So they go 2 weeks goes by and, he hadn't shown up at all for Jenny Craig.
Well, no.
He disappeared. So
going to that shit.
The strength coach sent the offensive line, because he's keeping track of it, the strength and conditioning coach. He sent this is an internal memo from the Cowboys, sent a memo to the offensive line coach. Quote, Tony, the Jenny Craig people have not seen Nate in 2 weeks, but all reports are he won a rib eating contest a week ago in Roanoke. So
no wonder he doesn't want to show up. He's still covered in barbecue sauce.
He's not on the Jenny Craig, but he is entering rib eating contest. So I think maybe he's off the rails here. He's off the track slightly.
Yeah, he might have relapsed.
That's fucking amazing. He did not get his $80,000 incentive that
I'm
year.
Sure he didn't.
No, because he was literally eating a rib eating contest. Not just, I'm going to go have some ribs. He's like, I'm going to eat the most ribs of anybody.
Anybody that's in attendance.
Anybody from far and fucking wide, come here and I will eat more ribs than you. Anybody.
But everybody lock up your phones. I don't need videos of this shit.
Oh, man. Yeah. Can you imagine now?
Today?
He's covered in sauce.
Jesus.
Bones dangling off his chin. Just a rib bone stuck in his beard. Not noticing.
At this time too, you had like the Fat Boys as a rap group. Like there was the heavy thing was kind of being glamorized a little bit.
Yeah.
It was
for fat guys.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Only them.
Only
dudes are allowed to be gross. You know what I mean?
And everybody goes, "Hey, isn't that cute?
Isn't that adorable?
Yeah, it's weird.
They can dance too.
Yeah. Hey, look at that. Yeah, that's sorry, ladies. That's
not for you.
That's a double standard that just exists. It's not right, but it exists.
Awful.
You can because I think also guys are less sensitive about it too because it's not attached to their self-worth.
Well, except for Nate Newton apparently.
Nate Newton, when they do all of that, when it's in the public eye. Yeah. But I mean, like, guys are more like, if they're fat, they go, all right, I better be funny, or I better be like this, or I better
be charming.
I better be something because I'm dealt a bad hand, and nobody will really even fuck with him about it other than maybe, one of his friends will break his balls.
His friends definitely will.
Girls will get it way worse and they'll feel worse about themselves.
Absolutely.
It's
fucked up.
It's a different psychological
It's not
thing.
right.
It's different for kids.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. So 87, they go 7-8. That's the strike shortened season. They go 7-8. The Cowboys do under Tom Landry again. He started 11 games that year. Started all 11 that he played in. 1988 Dallas Cowboys. They go 3-13.
Oh Jesus!
So this was when they had nobody, and this is Tom Landry's last year.
Yeah.
This is at the end of this year. Jerry Jones comes in, buys the team, and fucking cleans house. Yeah. And him firing Landry was just...
Oh, I'm sure that was... Yeah, nobody took that too nicely.
He had been the coach since the early 60s. Yeah. He's
an icon.
He had won Super Bowls.
Yeah.
That he was the Dallas Cowboy. Yeah. So to fire him...
You can recognize him on sight still today.
That's the thing. Yeah, they have the shadow with the hat, and that's his deal. And so that did not endear him, Jerry Jones, the new owner, to the old-timey fans whatsoever, to fire their iconic team leader. Right. So that was bad, but it did show that he's fucking in charge now, which is what he was going for. Yeah. This isn't Tom Landry. This is my team now. Yeah. So 3-13 they go. Nate starts 15 games, so he plays in 15, starts 15. So he's a starting NFL offensive lineman at this point under Tom Landry. Now the problem is when Jimmie Johnson comes in from Miami, University of Miami, he cleans house. He gets rid of basically all of Tom Landry's guys. He doesn't want any of these old guys. Doesn't want any of that old attitude. He cleans house except for a few guys, including Nate. Yeah. Somehow he likes Nate. Jimmie Johnson had success with guys like Cortez Kennedy and a couple people like that who were heavier set linemen. So Jimmie Johnson's about what can you do on the field. Yeah. He's not about how do you look on a calendar isn't what he's concerned about, which is good. Yeah. But this is 88, 89. Troy Aikman is drafted this year. Okay. Jimmie Johnson brings him in. Michael Irvin had come the year before, which Tom Landry drafting Michael Irvin is the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
Oh God, that's so weird.
Especially from the University of Miami, where Jimmie Johnson get very strange.
That's like hearing
yeah,
that fuckface from Green Bay. Why can't I think of his fucking
Aaron
name?
Rodgers?
No, Brett Favre being drafted by whoever the fuck.
Don Mikowski. Who are you talking about?
Who's the fucking coach? The fucking famous coach.
Jerry Glanville drafted him. Jerry Glanville drafted Brett Favre.
But never mind. I'm ruining this whole fucking thought now.
Who'd you think drafted Brett Favre?
I'm saying that that would
Vince
be like
Lombardi.
saying Vince Lombardi drafted Brett Favre.
Gotcha.
The timeline doesn't match up.
Yeah,
it's just so far.
They seem like,
This I fucking ruined. If I would have nailed that right out of the gate, that would have sounded great.
You know what, though? The thought is right, though. Michael Irvin seems,
make sense.
Super 90s, like, hip hop doing coke off a stripper's ass. And Tom Landry seems like
in the 60s.
Flat top, black and white, that's exactly right.
Film sped up so he looks like he's running faster and yelling at people
yelling
louder.
At Roger Staubach to fucking run a bootleg better.
And throw it deeper.
Yeah, throw it deeper. Hey there, when he still talked like this.
Tom Landry does not like the play of Roger Staubach today.
Yeah, you can tell by the film that he talked like this.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, it's fucking funny. So Jimmie Johnson says, quote, when I talked to Nate, I said, listen, I'm starting fresh with you. As long as you perform, I'll deal with whatever problems you might have. Mm-hmm. That's what he did. That's how he was in college. And, players could be doing anything. Jimmie Johnson didn't give a shit. He had a very John Madden approach. Yeah. Show up when I tell you to, play really hard, and if I have to bail you out of jail at 2 a.m, fine.
Right.
That's
do your fucking job.
Do your job. That's all he cared about. So Johnson still wanted him to lose weight, though. He wanted him to be a little bit more in shape. So he was forced to eat in training camp. He had to do a salad and vegetable diet, basically, where it's
the worst.
Yeah, he said, quote, every night I tell myself I'm going to dream about my girl, and he says, but it was always ham hocks. So he's just dreaming about ham. Yeah, that's to him. That's his true love.
Yeah,
that is his true love.
Can't blame him.
Yeah, he said, when I came to Dallas, I was a joke, man. I weighed about 345, 350 pounds. It was funny. Landry wanted guys who weighed like 245, 250. I came in and asked for sweatpants, and they gave me some extra large. I made them rearrange their whole equipment ordering system. They were used to dealing with small linemen. They didn't know what double X was until I got there. Even with double X, I had to squeeze into them. I introduced them to triple X.
Yeah. I was just going to say, how the fuck is he getting into a double X? That's a lot.
Jesus Christ. So that's when the manager named him the Kitchen, because he was too big for a fridge, I guess. He said, quote, I don't want anybody to go through what I went through my first 4 years here. It was hell being me. Every time I turned around, everywhere I went, it was fat this and fat that. That sounds like a goddamn nightmare. Yeah. It really does. So 89, Dallas has the worst season. I remember watching these games and just they were terrible. Yeah. They beat the Redskins on a Sunday night game, I think, was their one win. 1-15 under Jimmie Johnson the first year.
It's a good game to win, though.
It was. It was their rival, too. Yeah. So, I mean, but they gutted the team. It was a rookie quarterback throwing Aikman out there to get killed. And he also had Steve Walsh, who would come in when Aikman would get a concussion every other game.
Troy Aikman's first season, he went 1-15.
1-15, Chief. Wow. And he wasn't even fucking playing half the time because he was concussed all the time. Yeah. So he was a mess.
Oh my God, he'd be out of the league today.
They would have
shit. Fuck this guy.
Yeah,
he's not worth it.
Second he started having that look in his eyes like he has now at the camera, where he's like, I don't know where I am, but they programmed words into my brain and put a quarter in my back, so I will go for 3 hours.
And then an eye starts to drift to the center, like it's looking at the tip of his own nose.
A guy comes in with like a squeegee and a screwdriver and fucking puts it back together, and then they come back and there he is, and he's like, 4th down.
Carry the broadcast, Joe Buck.
Yeah.
Talk about how much you love Aaron Rodgers.
Come on, Buck.
We distract him from the fact that this man's dying in front of us.
He's having his eye worked on right now. Hold on. Troy Aikman's his eye's melting down again.
We are changing his oil. Keep talking about Aaron Rodgers' cock.
Christ. You love it, Joe. You love it. You want it. It's big. You're
salivating.
Vascular.
Yes. 4th down. You want to get in there too.
So, Nate starts all 16 games here. At this point, he's had 3 children with 3 different women as well since he's been in the league and in college. So he likes his ladies, and he likes to, as we'll find out. He also likes to go out and party and go boozing and shit like that, which is apparent on September 10th, 1990, when he's arrested for driving while intoxicated in Texas here. He'll ultimately be acquitted of this charge somehow. I don't know how, but whatever.
Improper
calibration or something. Who knows?
Or Jerry Jones had a little bit of dough floated to somebody.
That's
possible.
Dude, I doubt nothing in Dallas. When you hear about how Jerry Jones was just as bad as the players.
Sure.
Jerry Jones had he'd have things with bringing girls in on his own thing, like his own a fucking car limo with a hot tub with girls in it. He'd travel across the country.
He's an oil guy. You think he's not a slippery, slimy fuck?
He's a disgusting, but I love. He's another one that plays that like I'm just a Christian American,
I'm a Christian businessman down here in the heart of Texas.
I just like young fake tits in a hot tub in a car. That's American, right? Right, everybody.
Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? All right, then. Moving on. So, 1990 under Jimmy Johnson, they go 7-9. So that's a big improvement there. By the way, he also gets in trouble in November, the middle of that year, for another driving while intoxicated.
Damn it,
charge
Nate.
Here. He'll eventually be acquitted of this charge as well. But that's 2 DUIs in 2 months.
Yeah.
So that's not great.
That he's charged with.
Yeah. That's not terrific.
No.
At all.
That looks
right
bad.
there. It's tend to look bad here. 16 starts for him that year, though. Doesn't affect him that way. 1991, this is where this is where you don't hear about, and this is where Nate Newton is one of the first real showings that he's a complete piece of garbage. But you don't hear about this, though. One other guy takes the fall for this, but he ain't the only one, and let's find out here.
Boy.
March 21st, 1991, Newton is among 18 people arrested at an illegal dogfight.
What?
In a wooded area of East Texas. Yeah, he likes to, we'll find out how many and what kind of dogs he has later on, too.
How do you even find those?
Because you're in the dogfighting thing. He has a bunch of dogs.
That's
we'll talk about it.
You've got to be engrossed in that to know where the fuck that is.
Yeah, he'll talk about the next year he keeps 14 pit bulls. So you think he keeps those as his pets? Or do you think, and then he goes to dog fights?
He's rescuing them.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. Or do you think that's why he's at the dog fight? He's like, I'll take all the losers and take them home and fix them up. Yeah, that's what's going on.
He's breaking it up. I'm rescuing all these. These are now my dogs.
He just didn't.
I'm a sweetheart.
Apparently, the IRS didn't find out about his shit, so Michael Vick takes the hit, which he should. What about him?
Right. Or was he there just delivering all the leftover rib bones?
That's what he might have been. I got rib bones, everybody.
You guys are not going to believe it.
I won the contest. I'm a champion. Can you believe it?
Here, boy.
Oh, I'm the best rib eater in all of Roanoke. He doesn't even live in Roanoke.
No.
He had to fucking
That is
travel.
on the other side of the fucking country.
He had to travel for a rib eating contest. Think about that.
On a plane.
He got a hotel room. I'm there for the rib eating contest, so I need a low room so I could get out quickly. Like, what the fuck happened? So... sheriff's deputies here said they were tipped off that that this was a planned dog fight, that they were having apparently this is a big thing. People were betting. 18 people were arrested, but there was a shitload of more people there, as more than 20 people ran into the nearby woods in the darkness, and you're not going to catch them. So, this was at 10:30 a.m., by the way. This was going
broad daylight.
This is, we're talking about, this is,
prime part of the day.
This is a business that's going on here, this dogfighting. This isn't
opens at 10 a.m.
Hey, this isn't our version of partying.
No.
This is, we open at 9 and we go till whatever. And it's
gross.
They said most of the people who ran into the woods eventually surrendered. Some got away. Newton here, he's arrested right around the fight ring here. He's released on $1,200 bond after on charges of evading arrest because he tried to get away. Yeah. Good luck. And illegal dogfighting because, you can't do that. They said they recovered 4 pit bulls that had been used in the dog fights. 2 of them were so badly injured they might have to be put down.
Motherfucker.
Cocksuckers. And they're around there. But this is what I mean. I don't care what he did from now on. Fuck you, dude.
Yeah, you're an asshole.
You're a fucking asshole. And and he continues. That's not even, because it's not like a Michael Vick situation. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Did you know Nate Newton? No. When he goes on
I thought the first NFL player in the dogfighting ring was Michael Vick.
Absolutely. The last. And the last. Oh, everyone went, oh, what a terrible man. Yeah, no, dude, when you see Nate Newton with the, measure in his waist and big smile on his face, think about that. He's watching dogs be fucking slaughtered,
brutalized.
Yeah, fucking ridiculous. So I was very upset to read that shit. 1991 Cowboys, they're 11-5 under Jimmy Johnson. Now they're a winning team. They have Norv Turner as the offensive coordinator, head coach later on. Dave Wanstat's the D coordinator.
They're loaded.
Dave Campo is a former, now Butch Davis is a future coach again as a defense. It's all future head coaches here. Jimmy Johnson knew how to pick a staff. That's one thing he was really good at. They go to the playoffs, wild card round. They beat the Bears 17-13 and then get trounced by the Lions.
Ouch.
Think about that. Trounced by the Lions 38-6.
Wow.
Barry Sanders running wild on that ass.
Nobody's doing that to anybody today.
No, 38-6, and then the Lions got trounced hard by the Redskins, I believe.
Before the Redskins
and then the Redskins beat the shit out of the Bills.
Oh, the Bills.
That year, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Redskins beat up the Bills that year.
What year was that?
91.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Minnesota, the Super Bowl was, I think. 14 games for the Newt, 14 games started. 1992 this year coming up, he marries his longtime sweetheart, Dorothy Johnson. This poor long-suffering woman. She played varsity volleyball at Louisiana Lafayette. She's a scholarship athlete, and she is... She comes from a rough background, according to her. Father was a very abusive alcoholic. He was like a crane operator that would come home in the middle of the night, shit-faced, and beat the shit out of everybody. And very abusive alcoholic background for her.
She grew up in Louisiana?
I think so, yeah. Okay. Grew up there and ended up getting out of it with a scholarship and everything. She ends up graduating. She gets a job in Dallas where she meets Nate Newton.
God damn it.
She said Nate Newton was just kept fucking persisting to go out with him, and he's big smile and charming and shit, so she eventually took him to one of her volleyball games. She was playing recreational volleyball as a first date. She said if you like me after I'm all sweaty and not with makeup on and shit, then you like me.
Brilliant.
That's cool. So that's a good move, and they end up being together, and they end up getting married ahead of schedule because she gets pregnant. She said she was on the pill but still got pregnant. So tough break there for you.
I feel you, Nate.
So they get married, and that's how that works. He's very upset about it, apparently. He tells her he already has some kids. He doesn't want any more kids. He has a lifestyle, these Cowboys. They have a lifestyle of...
Kids get in the fucking way.
Well, wives get in the way, too.
Yeah.
He has and she says their whole marriage, she feels like she was just a blockade between him enjoying his life. Like he had this opportunity to live this crazy life, and she would fuck it up by asking him where he's going. Shit like that you ask the person you're married to. So yeah, it was one of those.
2 a.m. Where are you?
Yeah. She also says that he pressured her to get an abortion for this child because he didn't want to get married or have any kids, and she said she wouldn't. She's super religious, ultra fucking
Southern Baptist,
very religious. So abortion was not happening. The premarital sex, she said she felt guilty about, never mind abortion. So that's not going down. So they have the baby. We'll talk about him in a moment here. 1992 Dallas Cowboys, now they're starting to crush it. 13-3 this year, and this is when everything's clicking. Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Alvin Harper, and Troy Aikman. It's just Novacek.
So good.
They were the most annoying team to watch.
They really
hated them. So they win 34-10 versus the Eagles in the first round of the playoffs, 30-20 against the Niners that year. That was a good game, too. I remember that.
Was Deion playing with the Niners then?
Deion, I think Deion was still with the Falcons, or was that his first year with the Niners? So I remember the year because he was with the Niners, then with the Cowboys.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's why I asked.
The years I'm not positive of. Now, the Super Bowl that year, that's the Michael Jackson doing the halftime show and all that shit that year. 52-17 is the crushing,
my God,
ass whooping they put on the Bills.
Statement they made.
That game was over real early.
Oh, God,
it was pointless. So 52-17, the Cowboys destroy the Bills. And this is, by the way, they are not taking this game seriously, the Cowboys. They talk about how they're not taking this game seriously.
They're just playing with it.
They're thinking the Bills are basically they've lost 2 in a row. The Bills, this is their 3rd Super Bowl. They talk about how they were out at a bar and somebody on the Bills got in a fight and none of his teammates came in and like tried to help him. And they were all like, all the Cowboys players were like, we're going to fuck them up. They're like, if one of us, somebody threw a punch, everybody would beat the shit out of them. They would react like Hell's Angels. You know? You fight one, you're fighting them all. And he said, and they just let this guy fucking fight. They were like, whatever, they didn't even try to help him or anything. So
what's the point?
They were very much, all about that shit. The Cowboys during these Super Bowl years would, a lot of the players, Newton, Irvin, Larry Allen, a bunch of guys would, or Williams, I'm sorry, they would rent limos to go to and from practice. They would share a limo that cost $1,000 a day to take them to and from practice. Okay. Just because it felt cool to pull up in front of all the reporters in limos. Yeah. Very fucking stupid.
Just hubris.
Huge is his gut. He says at this point, they win the Super Bowl. He's elected to his first Pro Bowl this year, so he's getting individual recognition. He's a Super Bowl champion. Yeah. He says, I'm happy. I'm as happy these past few years as I've ever been. I look back and I see that I was nothing but a fool, a clown. You can't live that way. He says that now he feels better. He's financially secure. He's him and his wife, and they have a son, Nate the third.
No.
It is.
Oh, he did it.
He did it. It's absolutely fucking did it. He juniored up. A junior's junior. A third. He will go by Trey, though.
Yeah.
Always.
That's the cool move.
At least there's that.
So badass.
Grace.
Yeah.
It's not getting any better than this, okay? Now that we've had Grace, Dorothy, his wife, will later write a book, and it's a doozy.
About this part?
About everything with Nate. The name of the book tells you a lot. It's called Silent Cry. That it's inside there.
That's a depressing ass book.
I know, I read it.
Boy.
There's a picture of Dorothy on the front, like in a chair, like looking back and down, like over here. Like not at the camera, and it's like a one shade of light, and it's called Silent Cry, and you're like, oh no.
I gotta read it.
Oh no, this poor lady, something bad happened here.
This is gonna be great.
Something happened here. Oh
if
no.
It's good enough that a publisher's like, yes.
No, it's all Jesus and domestic violence. It's horrible.
God.
It's fucking horrible, because all she talks about is the Lord and this and the Lord and that, and then talks about horrific scenes of being scared of this, and I'm just like, oh my God, I feel so horrible, and I'm so sick of hearing about God at the same time.
Wow.
It's just weird. My emotions are too much with this book.
Poor lady.
She talked about her childhood and her mother, and she had a bad childhood, bad stuff. She says, quote, here's an excerpt from Silent Cry, quote, the first violence was after the Super Bowl win. She says, during my time with Nate, this is first from a Sports Illustrated interview, then she put it in her book.
When he should be his happiest.
Yeah, that's what I mean. During my time with Nate, there were 3 Super Bowl wins, and in fact, we married in January 1992. By the fall season, it had all started. I think that was the first time he physically abused me, although I could see signs as the verbal abuse began. She says, I do believe there is a root cause to the violence and the things that he placed upon me. I believe the success and the community and the sports bubble. I'm not making excuses. There's a lot of pressures involved. It happened quite often. So, yeah, whenever there was any kind of pressure, he would take it out on her, beat the shit out of her, drag her around, grab her by the hair, shit like that.
And the system's built for them to take their anger out on their spouse, and then the system is also built to cover that shit up.
They do, yeah. Right. And she'll talk about the Cowboys still doing that and what an awful person Jerry Jones is, basically. 1993, before camp, he weighs in, and he weighs in at 401 pounds.
Whoa.
That's too much.
That's way too much.
That is wrestler level. Yeah. Like, you're not the one-man gang.
That's novelty. That's novelty fat.
That's silly fat. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a joke fat.
He said, quote, that's the only time I've ever been embarrassed about my weight. I didn't even want anybody to see it.
And one.
And one. He's like, oh, no.
And one.
398 would have sounded so much better. Yeah. It's only 3 pounds. He said, I saw that and I thought they were going to have to bury me like a piano. So not great. He said, I went out that night and ate all the pizza and chicken I could. And the next day I started dieting. So he put on another 12 pounds that night.
One last binge.
He said, I might go into weight gaining. I might go into the weight gaining business when I'm through with football. I know all the wrong things to do and all the wrong times to do it. So he gets his weight down from 401 pounds down to 335. So everyone's thrilled with that. That's a huge improvement, big time, huge improvement. He says that he knows better than all the fitness gurus and the personal trainers. I know how to lose weight and put on weight. Trust me, I've been dealing with this shit my whole life.
Right. See these stretch marks?
Yeah.
Each one's for a lesson I've learned.
Each one tells a tale. Tale as old as time.
Stretch marks are like rings of a tree.
He says, I don't want to talk about fat talk content. He goes, they don't talk about genetics, which is true.
Yes.
He says, quote, this is amazing. By the way, Earl Campbell is a big, stocky running back for the Oilers in the 70s, so you'll know. He says, quote, I should take you all home and have you see my grandmama. She looks like Earl Campbell. Right now, look up a picture of Earl Campbell. You don't want your grandmama to look like Earl Campbell.
Not at all.
Earl Campbell has hot links at the grocery store right now. He does. Earl Campbell sausages. Yeah. That's wow. Yeah, you don't want your grandmother to look like him. Wow. He says, and look at my mama, my daddy, see my uncles. Everybody in my family's big. So all of a sudden, I'm not supposed to be big. I'm not a fat man. I'm a big man.
Well,
sort of fair.
Yeah.
He says it's basic genetics. If you have a fat cow and a fat bull, you're going to get a fat damn calf. He says if you think you're going to get a giraffe, you're crazy. Well, that'd be asking a little too much. It's just common sense. You don't need a lot of biology or anatomy to figure that out.
Stop talking, Nate. You're making it worse.
He had the first paragraph. I was like, yeah, all right. His grandmama looks like Earl Campbell. What the fuck you want from the guy? And then I'm like, wait a second. You're not getting a giraffe.
With the giraffe.
Chill out, dude.
Some of that makes sense because I know a dude, a comedian.
Oh, it makes a lot of
Jorge.
sense.
You've seen the man.
Yeah.
You've seen his parents.
I know a lot of
what was going to happen.
I know
there.
a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's genetics or genetics. I've seen documentaries on it where it's. It's hard to fight genetics. It really is.
Sometimes your body's just predisposed to digesting and holding things where you hold it.
It happens.
Just there.
It's not the end of the world.
Right.
It's nothing to be mocked over.
There are ways to manage it.
Yeah,
One
you don't
way
have to weigh 400 pounds.
You don't have to go eat.
Grandmama doesn't weigh 400 pounds, I bet. So
she looks like Earl Campbell, not Nate Newton.
That's the thing. I didn't say my grandmama looks like William Perry. That would have been a different story.
One way to manage that is not go eat all of the chicken and all of the pizzas.
All of it that you
and
can
all
find.
Of the ribs and all of everything.
Literally, the most ribs. The most ribs.
You just eat a manageable
I bet he set a record. Yeah. I just know it. I just know it.
I bet there is an order on a menu called the Nate Newton. Can I get the Nate Newton?
As a matter of fact,
oh my God,
we'll get to it.
Jesus
There's
Christ.
a deli with multiple things named after him because he's such a frequent customer. And I know I have what's on them and everything. I have the menu.
It's insulting.
It's the best. So he says. Oh, this is fun.
Unbelievable.
He says, quote, let me say this, brother. He turned into Hulk Hogan for some reason here. Let me say this, brother, and be real and be for real with you. Watch me play ball, man. Forget Sunday night showtime. Forget what you hear me say on TV. Watch me play football. Just watch me. You'll see something special. If you knew football, you'd know Nate Newton is getting the job done. If you stopped and looked at the whole game of mine, you'd say there's something to me. It's not about how fat I am, which is true. He's a fucking Pro Bowler every year at this point. 12-4 Dallas is in 1993. They beat the Packers 27-17 in the first round. I believe that is Brett Favre's first playoff loss. Yeah, I think they beat the Lions in the first round, and then they went. That Lions game was the one where he rolls all the way to his left and just sort of turns his body a little and flings it 50 yards down the field and completely across the field.
The don't you dare do this.
And hits a receiver in the back corner of the end zone on the other side of the. I don't even know how he could see the fucking guy over there. Never mind throw the ball and fucking make a 60-yard throw.
He may have been just throwing it away.
It's insane. Yeah. It's one of those, you look that up on YouTube, you're just like, oh my God. That's why people talk about Brett Favre and he can do stupid Wrangler commercials and show his dick to people on his phone. And people go, but he's still really good.
He was great.
He's so good. Then they beat the Niners 38-21 in the championship game and then go to the Super Bowl again against Buffalo. Yeah. Their fourth straight. Yeesh. Can they win this one?
Nope.
Fuck no, they can't. They lose 30-13 to the Cowboys here. So the Cowboys are again, Super Bowl champs. Nate has started all 16 games that year on a championship team. He's a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
He is fucking Mr. Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
December 7th, 93, in the middle of this wondrous run, he is arrested.
Oh, boy.
He's charged with driving while intoxicated. This is dangerous.
How much does it take to get that man drunk?
Oh, especially because he's a drinker.
He drinks.
And he eats a lot, too.
Fucking enormous.
It's got to be, he's got to be a 12-pack.
It's under the giant amount of
It's got to be like a 12-pack of,
to catch a buzz.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he doesn't have enlarged organs like Andre. Andre could drink so much because his liver was like 4 times. He had enlarged organs. Is
that right?
Yeah, that Giant's disease he had.
Okay.
That's why he died.
Okay.
Because his organs get too big. But his liver was like way bigger than normal people, so he could just process.
Filter it.
Fucking no problem. Just process shit like a bastard. Super drinker.
That's not good.
No,
you know what I mean?
Especially if you like the wine.
That's a hell of a talent, but that's not good.
No, especially for a wrestler who has nothing to do at night but drink as much as they have to drink. All the ribs and all the wine. So he would eat all the ribs too, Andre.
I'll bet he did.
Can you imagine? He's driving they call it a luxury vehicle here. He's driving at speeds of over 100 miles an hour when he rear ends another vehicle.
Was it parked?
Somehow, no. It's a Mercedes-Benz, 100 miles an hour, and it's driven by a woman named Angela Postajovsky, who's 22 years old at the time. Somehow doesn't kill her. Somehow doesn't fucking kill her. She is taken to the hospital and ends up being released later on.
Okay.
So it doesn't injure her too bad, but he's drunk when he plows into someone going 100, which is terrible. So he's also a reckless driving thing in here and a DWI. He's released without bond. Somehow they didn't even make him put a bond up. I guess he's going to be on TV this weekend. You can find him. He's not going to run away probably. That's December 7th there. 1994, June 20th, big old fluff piece. So many fluff pieces on Nate here on out. I mean, no matter what he does, they'll fluff it up big time. This is a fluff piece in Sports Illustrated by Lee Montville. It's called, quote, "The Way He Was." It's about what a great person he's turned into. This is while his wife says he's beating him, and he's been he's arrested for a dogfight 3 years ago. This person could have just fucking looked that up and found rather than do a fucking article about what a great guy he is.
He damn near killed a goddamn grad student. I mean, she's 22.
6 months before this article came out.
She's a child. He almost murdered her.
He almost killed a young lady. 3 years before that, he's at an illegal dogfighting thing, and but great guy.
Amazing guy.
The way he was.
Wow.
This is articles about how he used to be a bully, but now he's so nice. In college, he was a dick. This is this article. He says, quote, "I was terrible. I was the worst. If you were having a party and I wasn't invited, I would walk inside and shut that motherfucker down. Just shut it down. I was very good at shutting a party down." He says, quote, "There's a woman who can tell you about me. Her name is Pam Oliver." The reporter. She's a reporter for ESPN. She went to college with me at Florida A&M. She was the girlfriend of my best friend, Tony Hayes. 2 years ago, Jesus Christ, we played a preseason game in Tokyo, and she showed up. I hadn't seen her since college, and there she was. I smiled and started to say hello. I just saw her eyes go real wide. I could see she wanted to run away. I said, "Pam, wait, I'm not like that anymore. Really, I'm a different guy." And they asked Pam Oliver for this article, was Nate Newton really that bad? And she said, quote, "Nate Newton was a monster." That was her quote.
What the fuck did he do?
Nate Newton was a monster.
It's
apparently,
not just words, right? It had to have been.
I don't know what.
What did he
scare
do?
her? The way he said she reacted was like she was scared.
Right.
Like, oh God, he's gonna
did he
like
open a child or something.
That's what I mean. What did he do? What did he do to her?
I wish Pam Oliver would talk.
Tell me, Pam.
Say it, Pam.
Where did he touch you, Pam? How did he hurt you? She said that she saw Nate Newton at the Super Bowl in 1993. Quote, "He was sitting there with a microphone and with his little name card in front of him talking to all these people. He was talking so nice and everyone was writing down what he said. I said to myself, look at Nate. He's all grown up." So look at that. Look at Nate. He just doesn't give a shit about fucking murdering dogs.
Right.
That's fine. So late June 1994, his DWI court in Texas here, there's a plea deal to one of the two charges. So he pleads and they drop the other charge. That's how it works. And it's just a fine and all that shit.
Wow.
No big deal back then. A Texas DUI? Come on now.
That's a New York shoplifting.
They're like, were you shooting your gun out the window while you were drunk? Right. Well, we can let it slide then. That's
Did
all right.
you have your horse tied to the bumper?
That's a problem.
That's a goddamn first-degree murder.
Now, I know I asked you if you were shooting your gun out the window, but that does make a difference. If you were shooting at Mexicans, we can let it slide. Drunk or sober, doesn't matter. That's all right in Texas. That's considered a lawful action. It's,
that's called getting the party started.
That's all it is. It's like in Louisiana when they shoot them things that crawl up out the bayou. That's how we consider them down here in Texas. Sorry.
Good Lord.
Well, I can see Jerry Jones saying that.
Absolutely.
He goes, "What were you doing, Nate? Nate, you have the gun out." Were there Mexicans, Nate? All right. As long as there was something to shoot at, I understand.
Officer, I would like to say there were Mexicans.
In my defense, I heard Spanish being spoken, so I fired indiscriminately.
Turns out it was just the radio.
That's Texas law, right? That's okay. So they go to the playoffs this year. They're 12-4 in '94. They beat Green Bay 35-9 in the divisional round, and then they have a great game with San Francisco in the championship game, and San Fran wins that one. San Fran goes on to beat the living piss out of San Diego that year. I think Steve Young had like 6 touchdown passes or something. So he starts all 16 games, though. Nate goes to the Pro Bowl that year.
Yeah.
So again, just doing well individually as a team. 1995 Cowboys, they go 12-4. That was the first year, by the way, 94 under Barry Switzer. That's when Jimmy Johnson left.
Okay.
So Barry Switzer comes in and is considered not a great coach. He's not the same. And when you hear about it, like reading about it in that book, he just doesn't have the same holdover as Jimmy Johnson. He's just not the same guy.
He's a pushover.
He's
do whatever they want.
He's a facilitator.
Yeah.
He kind of lets people do what they want. I don't know how to describe him here. But this year, 95, they go 12-4. They beat the Eagles in the divisional round. They beat the Packers in the conference. Jesus, the Packer fans must have fucking...
Oh, boy.
That's like 4 straight years they've knocked them out of the playoffs. And then they go all the way to the Super Bowl, which was here in Tempe.
Right.
And they beat the Steelers 27-17. Yeah. And what was it? Larry Brown had all those interceptions and was MVP and signed a huge deal with the Raiders and never did anything again. Yeah, that's how that works. 16 starts that year again, Pro Bowl again for him. So, I mean, the Cowboys are doing fine. That's the end of their Super Bowl run.
Really?
There. That was when it went off.
It just went 6 years, huh?
Yeah, that was it. 5 years, yeah. Because the salary cap...
That's about what it takes.
Well, the salary cap came in 94. And that's when everything went off the rails, and you basically had a couple years to figure your shit out because you weren't going to have a lot of players.
Great equalizer, bitch.
Yeah. Before that, you could just buy... You could build a team. You could build a team with good players, and you could sign free agents and everything like that. At this point, though, he's very fat. Yeah, getting real fat again. This is from a deli that he liked. Okay, that he was frequented all the time. There's 3 Nate Newton related items. 3. I've never been somewhere where one person has 3 on the menu.
I've never heard that before.
That's amazing.
I've heard of 2, but one's like a main dish and then the side. You know what I mean?
This is 3 main things.
Sandwiches.
3 sandwiches.
Oh, boy.
Number 1, the Nate's Special, which is a breakfast sandwich. It's 2 fried eggs, sausage, bacon, cheese, mayo, lettuce, and tomato.
That is so much.
Which sounds absolutely repulsive.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible. I would not fucking... Mayo and bacon and cheese and sausage and eggs, and imagine that yolk mixing in with the fucking mayo. Good
God, Jesus, James.
Right now.
Oh, my God. Don't do that.
Damn
oh, my God.
He eats that.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, there's eggs in mayo, too. That's so much.
Too much egg.
James, are you about to tell me that you could go to this place and have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner all named after Nate?
Let's find out.
Right.
Let's find out. Next one is the Newton Ultimate.
Yeah.
That is a half-pound burger to start with. Half-pound burger. Bacon, ham, turkey. So let's add 3 more meats.
On the burger?
On the burger. So let's say it's a bacon, ham, turkey burger.
Let's
add all that. Swiss cheese, American cheese, mayo, lettuce, tomato on Texas toast.
Dear Lord, that's so much food.
That's a big sandwich.
That's so many animals have to die for you to have a sandwich.
You need a whole farm for that.
Yeah, you got birds, you got fowl, you got
farm,
pig, everything.
People pulling fish out of the water. There's just too much going on to get this.
We gotta make Nate's Ultimate.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Run the slaughterhouse and turn it all on. Let's go.
What's on it? Turkey?
Half-pound burger with bacon, ham, turkey.
Bacon,
and Swiss,
ham, turkey,
and American cheese.
And beef. So you've got every piece of the pig.
Beef, turkey, pig in multiple forms.
All kinds of animals are dying for this.
It's so bad. And then there is the Newton Extra, which is not, this is on the, quote, big dogs menu.
Oh, Jesus.
So the other two are for your regular folk.
That's for the light folks.
This is for if you're real. That was on
light eating?
It was on the lighter side.
What are you, a bitch?
Jeez. You little bitch or what here? Yeah, there's some kind of
This over here is for the rib champs.
Yeah, this is what some kind of little girl. Yeah. Hey, put your pigtails aside. You're gonna get barbecue sauce on them. So
don't get any of this egg and mayo in your pigtails.
The Newton Extra is bacon, ham, turkey, Swiss cheese, American cheese, mayo, lettuce, tomato on Texas toast, plus grilled chicken or hamburger patty. So that's basically his sandwich minus the other stuff, but you can get that on there.
Good
so it's
Lord.
Like the burger, but he has 3 items here on this. So that's,
how does the man...
This is the kind of girth we're talking about here. 3 different menu items that he invented.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You could be him. Unreal.
Oh, God.
Gross.
1996 Dallas. They go 10-6. So it starts to kind of fall apart. They beat the Vikings. They beat them up in the wild card round. Then they lose to the Panthers in 96. Remember, this was like the Panthers' second year.
With Green?
The Panthers played Green Bay in the championship game in Jacksonville. It was their second year, too. Went to the AFC championship game and lost to the Patriots that year.
So Green was he a fucking linebacker? That guy Green that played for the Panthers? Wasn't that his name? God damn it. I don't know.
Kevin Green.
Kevin Green.
Defensive lineman. Yeah.
Defensive
lineman. He wrestled, too.
Yeah.
WCW.
Yeah, that's right.
More wrestling.
It's Reggie White?
I think Reggie White was involved in that too, but McMichael was in it. Steve McMichael, the ex-Bear here. 16 starts that year. Now let's talk about the White House shit a little bit here. Now, like I said, we're going to get into this in heavy detail when we do a Michael Irvin episode, which is definitely going to happen.
Can't wait.
This is about an alleged sexual assault is how all this comes to light. There's an alleged sexual assault that the police end up clearing the players in this assault, or at least clearing Michael Irvin on this. Now, there was a sexual assault where the players end up suing Channel 5 in Dallas for leaking. Basically, they're suing the Channel 5 and they're suing the Dallas police, saying that their civil rights were violated by the Dallas police leaking false reports to Channel 5 and disseminating it on them. And now everyone thinks that they're rapists, basically. It was a young lady saying that she was, Michael Irvin held a gun to her head while several people raped her, including Michael Irvin. That's the charge here. Turns out that Michael Irvin was not even at the house that night. And that just didn't...
That's a hell of an accusation.
That's a big accusation. Yeah, that's a big accusation.
That's way worse than the Oliver Miller one.
Oh yeah. No, that's horrible shit. Yeah, I mean that was horrible too. But this is like they're saying this is like a straight violent
gang rape.
Fucking like robbing a liquor store.
Yeah.
So this is obviously not your typical. This is a very, very serious allegation.
This is horrible.
So yeah, they start suing. Basically, the Cowboys start suing people over this, and this is the opposite of what Jerry Jones wants. He's trying to clean up the Cowboys' image at this point. He wants them to be America's team and all that shit. Yeesh. But they're having, coke and stripper parties. Right. So they're not.
That's when the Columbia team's joke started.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is all that kind of shit here. And the White House deal. This didn't even happen in the White House, or allegedly. But the White House was basically a suburban home that was near the Cowboys practice facility that was in like an upscale neighborhood that just a 2-story nondescript house that a bunch of the players bought. Alvin Harper was like the owner of record, the receiver, but a bunch of the players bought and they used it as their party den. It was just big, huge TVs and pool tables and, places to have sex with tons of girls.
Good for them.
They would bring in just girls by the carload into there, to just women as far as the eye could see, and drugs, and have a good old time. And they had the whole place wired for video.
What?
And it was fucking disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. There are some gross videos.
Why
out
would
there.
You want that?
That's what I'm saying.
No.
I don't want to know
log that in your brain or delete it and forget it. That's all you got.
I want to know. And a lot of the players that be in there didn't even know they were being filmed. That's the thing. So it was messed up here. Now, Jesus Christ, they're talking about Williams, who was the main, he was the guy who was accused mainly of this assault, Williams, and Newton on TV says that Williams, he considers him to be a close friend, but he says, quote, I don't hang around him no more than at team functions when he comes, and when he asked me to ride to him with to the Cowboy Cafe, he said, I don't have no tapes, referring to all, because they asked him about videotapes. He says, I ain't never had multiple sex with Eric or nothing, or his partners. So he's like, I don't know, I'm not involved in Eric Williams shit. I never seen his dick. I don't know anything about it. I like in the locker room, but never extracurricular dick sighting of Eric. I don't fuck with Eric.
Yeah.
Like, we hang out and eat together, but we don't like fuck at the same time. You know, it's different.
Well, we get a Newton Deluxe. That's the only time
different.
I see him.
I throw one to him. He's like, sweet, and he likes it, obviously, here. So he ended up, there's a transcript, there's a deposition and all this shit where Newton ends up, he's like the only guy who ends up being successfully deposed here. He says that Jesus Christ. They ask him about shit, and he says that he's been to the White House a couple times because they ask him a bunch of shit like that. Yeah. He says that Newton said that he was leaving. There were the Williams and Irvin had this lawyer, and they were talking about what they should do. And apparently, Newton said that Irvin and Williams and the lawyer decided to make it about race, like as their strategy. And he said, Newton says, quote, I say, why y'all think they're doing this? And that's when he said that, he says, I don't know whether Eric or Mike said it, because I'm black. And I said, well, that's shit. That ain't right. It's not because you're black. And that's when the lawyer said, no, it's because they're black. That's our strategy, like, you know, blah, blah, blah. So Newton didn't agree with that strategy. He was like, they're not going after you because you're black. They're going after you because you're famous. Right. And you're just, they're chicks saying you put a gun to their head. So,
and you're running and doing dumb fucking things.
Well, that's one of those things. I mean, I'm sure that didn't, whatever, the public perception wasn't a great look. But if there was an allegation that Darryl Johnston or Troy Aikman had a fucking gun to a chick's head while Jay Novacek raped her, I think that would be on the news.
I think it's equal. Yeah,
I think that would
get equal airtime.
That would probably they'd probably talk about that. Is what I'm just saying. I think that's a huge allegation here.
It could be Doug Flutie and Don Beebe, and it would still be
big
6
news.
o'clock news.
Big news. Yeah. Jim Kelly post cancer. It'd be a huge story. Huge story. Came right out of a chemo treatment with his dick hard, looking for
and
some
a
9mm. No. By the way, good to see Jim Kelly's not going to die now.
So great.
That's a fucking miracle. It's amazing. Good for him.
The guy was
dude.
Amazing.
Good for him.
And what a classy loser.
Yeah, absolutely. to not off yourself after all that. I give him, not only that, he didn't just go, let the cancer take me. I've had enough to fight through it. Dude's a fighter.
He is the face of failure. I mean, he succeded to get to fail, but he's the face of failure.
It's the face of, he's a lot of second place finishes, a lot of it's famous second places, him, Hitler, there's not, just kidding. It's not good.
There aren't many.
Second place.
There aren't many that are that consistently second place.
That's what I mean.
You got to hand it to him.
The German army,
a lot.
both world wars, and Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly.
So that's it.
And Jim Kelly did it 4 times.
4. Worse than Germany. Jim Kelly. Worse than Germany. He has a worse Super Bowl record than Germany has a World War record. Think about that. That's not great. That's bad. When Hitler's like, I'm 0-2. Because I know Hitler wasn't in charge in the First War, but he was in the army. So, I'm saying, we're 0-2. You're 0-4, pal. Granted, that second one was a big L. Yeah, that was a huge L. Hang on. That might count for 2 or 3.
That one might be remembered before your 4, but you still got 4.
4. Now, they ask Nate about the White House, and he gets mad about this. And this is this is his defense of it. Okay, this is his like, what the fuck do you want from us, man? Because he's saying in this interview that like the press comes down on them too hard, and for everything they do, it's like they're under the microscope and all. It's like, well, yeah, you're the biggest thing in town. That's what it is.
When you win, you fucking are scrutinized.
That's what happens. We just made fun of Tom Brady for somebody else doing something that had nothing to do. We blamed him for it. That's what happens. So he says, quote, about the White House. This is his like, what the fuck, dude? He says, quote, wow, we've got a little place over here when we were running some whores in and out trying to be responsible, and we're criticized for that too.
What the fuck? What is this, 1912?
And I repeat, he sounds like Al Swearingen. That's a Deadwood reference, Jimmy.
That's what I mean.
Quote, we've got a little place over here where we're running some whores in and out trying to be responsible, and we're criticized for that too.
A respectable business.
I got a respectable whorehouse going on here. He didn't even say it's not even a business. He just said, we're doing it off to the side. So doing it all respectable, like bringing strippers in. Like, what the fuck, man? You guys are criticizing us for that?
You're married, you dummy.
Then they went, you running some whores? So what does that mean? Right. That's what they said. Does this mean you have like a prostitution ring going on? And he says, he clarified by saying whores. He said, running a few whores, quote, through the party house. He said, quote, Jesus. Well, you know what I meant.
Boy, did I say that out loud?
That was supposed to be to Michael Irvin.
That was supposed to be my inner monologue.
We're just running some whores trying to be responsible. These motherfuckers won't leave us alone. Oh, you look. Oh,
Jesus.
I thought that was Michael Irvin. I don't have my glasses on. Sorry. He says, quote, well, you know, when I meant the word whores, I was just talking about females. Dig deeper.
Yeah.
I was just, just anybody who's a female. That's a whore to me. That's, I didn't mean anything by it. Whoa. Okay. Well, when I meant the word whores, I was just talking about females. You don't have to go out and buy no women. I mean, so I don't want people to think that I was saying prostitutes or nothing like that. Just women that got together and had fun with us. That's what he meant by whores. That's clarification. It was way better if they just thought that you brought prostitutes in. Way better.
So great.
Than the fact that you just meant any woman that would hang out with you, you just called a whore for no reason. That's why I said that earlier, because it was their vernacular. Whores.
Gorgeous.
I was just talking about females. I don't want anyone thinking that it was prostitutes or nothing like that. I meant that all women are whores. Just so you know. I'm a nice guy.
This man kept his job. You imagine saying that shit in a board meeting and then they sitting you down and you're like, I mean, no, not prostitutes, you guys. I just meant all women. You know what I mean?
All women. Like whores.
I'm fired,
how that is.
Right?
All women are.
So I'm fired?
I meant, yeah.
Put my shit in a box? Is that what you want me to do?
All women.
No.
All women are whores, right? Right? That's no. Fuck. I thought I was making it better. And now I guess I fucked it up worse. Nate, that's not the right thing to say,
the
stupid.
Man kept his job.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, they were like, that's just Nate,
So let's not talk to him anymore.
They cheered him in Dallas. Yay. He thinks we're all whores. Yay. 50% of the audience whores. That's what he sees.
All these men drinking beer brought their wives, you fucking jerk.
Good evening, whores and gentlemen. Nice to see you. This is not okay.
As the announcer should have. Whores and gentlemen, please stand now for the national anthem.
Stand for our national anthem.
For all the whores and men in service uniform.
Gentlemen, pull your whores up by their hair and make them stand erect for the national anthem. We all know they're too stupid and sleazy to do it on their own. They have too much penis on the mind. What are they doing?
Unreal.
This is ridiculous. This is all sarcastic and making fun of them, by the way. If somebody just hears a clip of this and goes, Jesus, these guys are awful. No, we're making fun of them. So.
Please stand for our men in service whores.
Yeah. Our men in service whores.
So we honor our national anthem.
All of our men and whores in uniform overseas fighting, we'd like to thank you. Thank you for your service to this country, you filthy, filthy whores.
And wonderful men.
And wonderful.
Such brave men.
Brave men and filthy whores. That's...
Christ, that's so awesome. Unfucking real.
I can't believe
Nate Newton.
I can't believe that was his clarification. That was his. Hold on, I didn't mean what you think he meant. That was like saying
all women.
He made a comment about black people. He said, "No, you got it all wrong. I meant no, you missed. What I was trying to say was that black people are lazy and stupid. That's what I was getting at. Genetically, it's just that they can't help it. You know what I mean? They're born lazy. That's just how they're wired. That's what I meant. That's what he said. Basically, that was what he said." That was the equivalent of a racist backtracking and explaining himself in that way. What the fuck are you talking about, you stupid asshole? You dog-fighting fucking idiot. So, wow. Barry Switzer's mad at the media, not the players at all, too. He's mad. He says...
How dare you guys allow him to talk?
Don't give Nate a microphone. I've warned you idiots about this. He says that he said he isn't taking any criticism either. He's like, that shit isn't my fault.
Right.
First of all, these are all Jimmy Johnson's guys. Second of all, they do what they want. He says, if I'm part of the overall spectrum that people want to think this comes from the top on down, they're full of shit, because everyone is responsible for their own behavior, their own actions, their own characterizations of women. I'm sure he wanted to add on there. All that. He says, you make good choices or bad, and it damn sure ain't going to be whether your mama or daddy had an influence on it, or your coach, or the director of your program, or your general manager, or whoever. It's your choice.
They're all grown men and whores.
They're all grown men and whores that know what they're doing. Jesus fucking Christ. So they're talking about this is before the players are all cleared of the alleged gunpoint sexual assault. Mm-hmm. And Barry Switzer says, quote, I don't think anything is going to happen. Why the hell haven't they been arrested by now? That's my attitude. Why does the police department have a press conference but not arrest anyone? It stinks. Mm-hmm. So he's all in defense of the players here. So August 14th, 1997, Nate Newton is named in a sexual assault complaint by a woman who's a completely different. This has nothing to do with the other one. This is kind of a weird one, though.
This is why Barry Switzer lost his hair.
All at once.
Yeah. He doesn't even get to have silver hair.
For Christ's sake.
It just falls out.
This was 2 months after the horse thing. Now this comes out here. He said this is a woman names him in a complaint. He's not been charged with a crime yet. The woman... this is a woman he's had a relationship with. This is a woman he's been having an affair with for the last year and a half on his wife. And apparently this woman had been calling his wife and telling Dorothy that I'm having an affair with Nate, and Dorothy didn't believe her. And then she was like, well, he does this, and that. She's like, she's fucking Nate. There's a whore on the phone.
Nate, one of your whores is here.
One of your whores is here. You're Janice Rossi. You're nothing but a whore. To Rossi. So, wow. So that's that. She says that this happened at her home in Grand Prairie in June. Here, she said that he came to her home at about 1 a.m. on June 15th and sexually assaulted her. That's the deputy here. September 3rd, 97, they go to the grand jury, and he's cleared of allegations that he raped this woman here. The defense attorney said that she was trying to extort money from him. Apparently, she went to him and tried to get money out of him before she went to the police. So that makes her case not look as good. He spent an hour before the grand jury, and they did not indict him on the sexual assault charge that was recommended by the prosecutors. He said they didn't have any comment when they left the place here. They said the jurors, quote, they probably did not appreciate this monetary negotiations breaking down prior to the time that the criminal justice system is brought into play. That's what people are guessing. That's what one of the attorneys says. They did hear a recording. This is from the woman's answering machine from June 17th, where Newton appears to apologize for the actions on the 15th. And they said that was the strongest evidence against Nate. One of the prosecutors said it's an apology, sort of, and an admission, sort of. So he does one of those,
apologizes for getting rough with her or some shit.
Some shit like that here. Now, 4 witnesses, Nate, his wife, testified testified before the panel here. And also, they reviewed a packet of 4 letters from these women's lawyers, and also a letter from Jerry Jones saying what a great employee Nate is here. One of the letters sent to Nate demanded $650,000 or threatened a publicity or criminal prosecution. So that's what that was. Now, his lawyer is acting like not only are they lucky to get off on it, but how dare they?
Yeah.
She said, his lawyer says, quote, "We're going to take a serious look at her lawyer's actions now. It's not as though we went in making a bunch of demands unsolicited. They wanted to try to resolve this matter monetarily." So now the woman says she plans to file a civil lawsuit. And, they said that they have no choice because the courts have not made Nate take responsibility for his actions. His lawyer says, "I'm very happy. It does not take a lot of evidence to get someone indicted. Anything can happen. Mr. Newton wants to play football, get on with his life, help the Dallas Cowboys win another Super Bowl."
Oh, boy.
How about them Cowboys?
Oh, boy.
What color's my hair, boy? What color is it? How's silver?
It is as silver as a Dallas Cowboys helmet.
Oh, that's right. It's
unreal.
That Dallas Cowboys helmet. What an appropriate color that is. Jerry Jones should wear it at all times. He should always wear that helmet around.
It sparkles.
It sparkles. Yeah. He said they asked him about the crime, and his lawyer said it's not totally unexpected. We tried to prepare ourselves for exactly this situation because of the mystique of the Cowboys. So this is the mystique of the Cowboys' fault here. His lawyer said, "I'm tired of hearing that." He's also the one that said that this wasn't about seeking money; it's about seeking justice. Talking about the other lawyer, and so all this goes down. Nate is not cleared, but he's not indicted. So whatever that's worth.
Yeah.
97, the Cowboys start to stink. They're 6-10. This is a good time.
Yeah.
6-10. Nate plays in 13 games and starts all 13. 1998, they go 10-6. This is Barry Switzer is now gone.
Yeah.
Chan Gailey has come in.
Oh, good God, I remember that.
Yeah, Chan Gailey has come in. This is the end for the whole thing. This is the end of the Cowboy.
Yeah.
This is when they finally break it down and rebuild, because they are beaten in the wild card round by the Cardinals. So they go, okay,
boy.
That's their first playoff win since the 40s, guys. We should probably... This isn't good.
First playoff win in this city. This is
ever.
Yeah.
And franchise since the 40s.
Right.
I believe when they were in Chicago. I don't think they were in St. Louis yet. That's how 2 cities ago was the last time they won this shit. When fucking World War II was going on. Jesus Christ.
They've got several leases on other stadiums.
Yeah.
And now we lose to them.
No, it's all going down from there. He started all 16 games that year, Nate did. Made the Pro Bowl again. So, I mean, it's not for anything he's doing. No. That year, his contract is up with the Cowboys, and he goes and signs a free agent deal with the Carolina Panthers in 99. Yeah, 1 season there. He ends up tearing his tricep halfway through the year, and he's done. This is the Steve Berline Carolina Panthers. Jesus. Yeah, this is right before the Jake Delhomme era here. The Berline Panthers. It's ugly. They go 8-8. George Seifert, the old 49er coach, was their coach there. Very silver his hair is.
Berline fucking beat them when was he with the quarterback for the Cardinals then? I'll bet he was.
He was around for what? Plummer was the 97. That was Plummer.
Oh, okay.
It was Plummer's, that was Plummer's rookie year, wasn't it?
I don't know.
98 when they lost 98 when they lost in the playoffs to the Cardinals. That was Plummer's rookie year.
Okay.
Yeah, 97 was that Rose Bowl.
Okay.
That he was in. 98 was his rookie year.
Go.
Yeah, he was terrible, but he beat them. Anyway.
So Berline was before him.
Berline's before him. Yeah, he was back in the air.
That was horrible.
Cardinals had goddamn Tom Tupa at one point.
It was tough.
He was a fucking punter later.
Tough to watch that.
He's such a good quarterback, he turned into a punter. That's how good of a quarterback he was.
Can you move the ball with any other appendage of your body? Can you do that?
Can you do that? Oh, I can kick it pretty far. Good.
Let's do that.
Great.
Because you are no good with your arms.
You're not making it go down that way with your arms so good. So let's try with your feet.
Can you push it further with your foot?
Let's do that, shall we? Jesus Christ. So, this season here, he says, Jesus Christ, he says that he can't wait they interview him around Thanksgiving, and on television, he says that he can't wait for Thanksgiving because all he sees is food.
Yeah.
He says, I see my mother-in-law as my mother-in-law. When I see her, I look at her as gumbo. I look at my mom as collard greens. I look at my wife as fried chicken, my favorite dish.
He wants to eat his family.
He's like Bugs Bunny on a fucking on a cartoon, where he turns into like a chicken and a hamburger and start dancing around. That's what's happening here.
He's so hungry.
So his mom turned into a hot dog. Because grandmama turned into Earl Campbell, who turned into a hot link.
I'm going to put them all on a fucking piece of Texas toast and gobble them down.
Put some ham and bacon and Swiss cheese on it and turkey, and you got something here. So 99 is his last NFL season. He retires after that and pretty much broke, spends all his money, goes through it as he's doing it. In 2000, he and his wife divorced. Now, Dorothy decides she wants to leave him, and there is we'll talk about a scene from when this happened later on, but she wants to leave him, and she basically he's got no money. They end up selling their home, which is basically all the money they have, and splitting the proceeds from that.
Wow.
And that's the money he has here. He works for ESPN radio and a little bit does some college football on BET television, some commentating, trying to get his feet wet in that aspect of it, but he needs money.
Yeah.
He needs to make some money. He's used to a big lifestyle of making big money, and now he just he always kind of lived up to his means, and then his playing days are over, and he's got no money saved up, and that's that. So kind of fucked at that point. He never had that $100 million contract as an offensive lineman and a guard, and back then they just didn't get those kind of contracts.
Your glory is that fucking ring on your finger.
Yeah. Nowadays, if you're like a left tackle, that is a primo. You're getting paid almost as much as the quarterback, because without you, that quarterback is going to get he's worthless. Yeah, he's going to be injured, so it doesn't matter. So now they realize how important offensive linemen were, but back then they were like, they're important, but we're not giving them a lot of money. No one knows who the fuck you are, dude.
They're important, but don't fucking tell them.
Yeah, don't tell them they're important. Exactly, because it was like, no one knows who you are. Yeah. You're not selling tickets, right? So fuck you.
There's 8 of you on this field right now.
Yeah, and the Cowboys, their whole thing was their running game, and that offensive line was a beast. I mean, we didn't talk about it, but their offensive line was the reason that team was. I mean, they were good in all aspects, but Troy Aikman had all fucking day back there, and Emmitt Smith had
holes,
huge holes to run through,
like
huge holes.
They were gaps.
Yeah,
they were so big.
He was great, but they were popping huge holes.
He was good, but you put him on the Cardinals and see how great he is.
You put him on a shit team with no line, he's not going to be that good. Yeah, because he didn't have the skills. He did. I never saw anybody take a hit glancing better than him. He never took a hard hit in his entire career.
He was able to position his body to where he would slide to the ground. He was like
moving away from someone as they hit them always, to where it was just kind of a tackle, like a slide tackle, not any big pop. Him and Barry Sanders, I don't think. Barry Sanders, I've never even seen anybody really tackle him well. They just kind of grab his jersey and drag him to the ground, hold on to him like a fucking wolf, and just try to bring him, touch his knee to the ground, and he can't get back up again.
Just put in more effort and energy on him than his legs can push,
which is tough,
and that'll bring as long as his knee touches elbow. That's it.
I've seen run. There's a couple where guys think he's down, where like he goes basically flat, but he's kind of like a push up, and he pops right back up, and he's gone, and they're like,
for another 20 yards.
They were all they'd stopped and started getting back up and taking their helmet. He's running down the field. Like, what the hell happened here? So November 4th, 2001, he's in Louisiana. He's in a van with some other people. He's with a couple of women, a Faye Cleveland, 46 years old, and a Marvo Way, who's 49 years old. And Ricky Glenn Williams is driving a truck the truck as well. And so they're all in this van, and they are pulled over for a traffic violation at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning. So, I mean,
hurry into church.
Dude, we got to get there
fast.
We're going to so many churches this morning. We start
stop
early.
At the stop signs, and I'll punch you in the back of the head.
You know how that goes.
You keep driving.
Go. Church. So apparently, they said that, quote, the driver seemed nervous and gave consent to search the van. So they searched the van. And what they find in it is unexpected for 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning. They find cardboard boxes filled with 213 pounds of weed.
Wow.
That's a lot of weed.
That's a heavy car.
That's a lot. Now, I like weed. But 213 pounds is arguably more than you need for a while, I would say. It's going to take a while. That's not for personal use.
That'll be dry and garbage by the time it gets smoked.
It's hard to tell somebody that that's all for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? mean, we're having a party tonight. Like, that's 213 pounds. There's no way.
You better have a humidor.
That's for other people, obviously, here. So, Nate is in the car. He's arrested as well. They're arrested for possession with intent to distribute marijuana, obviously. The driver was charged with something extra as well. There's also $18,000 in cash in the truck that was seized there. And, so they're all charged with that.
Look good at all.
This looks terrible here. They're put in jail. Bail is set at $200,000. Nate makes bail. So he gets out. He's out for a few weeks and he's like, fuck, what do you do here?
Oh boy.
What do you do? This isn't good for you.
No.
Now you're behind the 8 ball with legal shit.
Oh boy.
And you're less employable now because you just had a high, that was a very publicized thing.
Oh, I'm
sure.
It
was hilarious. 213 pounds of weed for a guy who just retired from the NFL. Right. What are you doing, stupid? Why are you in the van, dummy?
Where's your money?
How about just tell them to drive the shit? You're famous, dummy.
Stay the fuck home.
Now,
why
so
do you hire people you can't trust?
That's
with their weed.
Who are you
Why
doing?
would you deal with them?
I don't know what he's doing. He hasn't figured this out very well. So that's November 4th. This happens. So December 12th, their Drug Enforcement Administration agents flagged down Dallas County police officers on a highway to ask for help in stopping 2 vehicles that were traveling together in a little caravan here. Now, there was a pickup truck and a car under surveillance, and this all came after an informant tip, is what the DEA agent says here. So they end up pulling these vehicles over on I-635 in Dallas, and this is fucking amazing. By the time the deputies determined that they were actually federal agents, they caught up to the vehicles and stopped them just inside Ellis County as they left Dallas County. Okay, these people here. Now, this is amazing. Newton and 2 other men are arrested. Why? Because what's in the truck? 175 pounds of marijuana.
What is he doing?
175 pounds of weed. Did he think, like, they'll never suspect me? Only 5. No one would be that stupid. I just got arrested 5 fucking weeks ago for this. No one's that stupid. They'll never suspect me.
They'll stop me and be like, Newton? I am. There's no
way.
Clean.
You don't have weed on you, right?
No
Not
way.
anymore. Shit, not after last time.
They took all 213.
Elbow. Have a good one. How about them Cowboys? Have a good one, Nate. Nope. He 175 pounds of weed. Now he is fucked because he's on, he's out on bail. You're not allowed to get arrested while you're out on bail for things. They'll revoke your bail, and then you don't get out of jail anymore. So he's arrested with possession with intent to distribute again. After his second arrest, his bail bondsman, a guy named David Wells, like the pitcher, he said to Nate, quote, you fucked up, right? And this Wells said, quote, he said, I know that about Newton. He said, don't even get me out. Just let me start doing my time now. Wow. He said he knew he was fucked. Wells said, quote, that's when the light went on. That's when he got it.
Now. Just now.
After a second giant weed bust. Or
it's not good. It's a little late.
It's a little bit late.
Yeah.
Now, his silver-haired middle-aged white man, Shapiro here, Howard Shapiro, not Robert, not OJ's lawyer.
No.
He got a different one. He's like, well, shit, I mean.
Shapiro.
OJ had Shapiro.
They're just gonna, you know what? He's cheaper than. Right. He's cheaper than. We're going to walk in and be like, this is my lawyer Shapiro. And the judge is going to be like, is that OJ's guy?
Is that OJ? I think that might be OJ's guy. Be like, they both Jewish, man. That's cool. Like I said. You know what I'm saying?
He's related.
Hey, he's not a whore. So that's a plus. He's a Jewish non-whore, so right. I think he's going to be a good lawyer for me. He said that this Howard Shapiro said he was representing Nate in the Louisiana case, and with the sexual assault thing, too. He said that he hadn't been contacted by Newton yet, and he said, quote, I don't know why I'm not hearing from him. I've represented him in everything he's ever been involved in before. All of his shit is dogfighting. Yeah. I have no reason not to believe I'm not representing him now. So he said that, he's not quite sure how the arrest would affect him. The lawyer said, quote, I don't even want to speculate on this, how it'll affect his Louisiana case. He said an initial reaction is that it would probably have an adverse effect. You think?
Yeah.
You think another huge drug bust would have an adverse effect against the one?
I feel like 2 of the same crime might look bad.
Possible.
Yeah.
So there's a now they want bail now. Now they want a bond.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a reconsideration of bond hearing, and his lawyer filed a supplement stating character witnesses, including but not limited to Jerry Jones, Emmett Smith, Troy Aikman, and Michael Irvin would testify on his behalf and co-sign for his bond.
And they'll all be wearing matching rings.
They'll all be wearing matching rings and walk out together to go find some whores. So, well, not Troy Aikman, according to Skip Bayless.
Right.
Fucking scumbag Skip Bayless. That's another one, you piece of garbage asshole. Troy Aikman shouldn't have sued him. He should have beat the shit out of him.
That would have been
just Frank Sinatra'd him. Found him in a fucking restaurant, walked up, yanked him out of his chair by his fucking shirt collar, and pummeled him right in the restaurant.
Smacked him silly.
Said, next time, keep my fucking name out of your mouth, Skip, you frosty haired dildo, and walked out the fucking door.
Where's my eye mechanic?
Where is it? So, Newton, but they deny him bail, even with Emmett Smith willing to sign for it. He says he will plead not guilty and ask for a jury trial. His lawyer said, quote, "This is a beatable case, not because he's an icon, but because he was not involved in drug trafficking. There's no fingerprints, no tape conversation, no overt actions. Doesn't have to be because you had it." All that other stuff is for when you're up in the drug organization and you're big enough to where you don't handle drugs. Like on The Wire, they can't get Stringer Bell and Avon. Yeah, fuck you. They don't get Stringer Bell or Avon walking around with cocaine on them. They hopefully can get them talking on the phone about a big deal that they can link them to. They're not going to have it on them. That's the point. He had it on him.
He's 175 pounds.
You don't need recordings. He's holding it. The fuck you tell? You can't even say, I didn't know it was there. Right. You know, you could smell that from a mile. I don't care how well you package 175 pounds of weed. You're going to smell that shit from the next county.
I had a couple of pounds on me a couple of times. It's impossible to not smell that.
It's so smelly. In 175 pounds in a van?
That's a lot.
That's a lot of weed.
Jesus.
In court, he characterizes his client, Nate, here as, quote, "a gentle giant who poses no danger or threat of fleeing." They said that he would agree to wear electronic monitoring. He'd do home confinement. He'd do super intense daily supervision, whatever they wanted. The judge said that Newton, quote, "did not present sufficient evidence to overcome presumption that he's a flight risk or a danger to the community." You, sir, back in fucking jail, dickhead. So the prosecutor said, quote, "we filed a motion to revoke his bond in our jurisdiction as well, the Louisiana people. So he'll be fucked over there, too. So in case he does get out on bond here, he's going there. Yeah. His arrest in Texas has had an impact here. It demonstrates to us that Mr. Newton is a pretty big dope dealer." Now, why? That's the question. Everyone said, why are you doing this, stupid? You're an NFL player. Get your head out of your fucking ass. Figure out a better way to make money. You're not your brother. You're not an unknown. You're a member of the You're a very well-known player. He was on Arliss in 96.
Yeah, so that's true.
He's that known where he was on a TV show as himself. And
his agent should have negotiated with that fucking deli to get $1 per every fucking sandwich they sell.
50 cents a sandwich, something. Yeah, with his fucking name on it. Now, he says, quote, "I had blown a lot of money from football, but I wasn't broke. Drug transporting just seemed too good to pass up." That's what it's just too good to pass up. He said it didn't seem, as I said, does it seem like easy money? He said, quote, "it didn't seem like easy money. It was easy money." He said, this is great. This is his reasoning. "I've always been competitive. I've always been in sports. I couldn't see myself not being the biggest dope man too."
What the fuck?
He's like, "I gotta sell the most weed. You know, I'm competitive." He said,
treating it like fucking Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah, that's what he is. Like, hey,
sell
man,
the most boxes.
We got to sell more Samoas. Man. That fucking other one has us beat. And he says, "Weird thing is, I don't even like pot. It just makes me hungry. If I smoked out, I'd weigh 800 pounds. But at the same time, I was going to hell, full speed. That's just the way I do things, all the way. If I was a killer, I'd take them all out. Everybody, not just one or two." Mm-hmm. Oh, my. So, yeah, Nate, he said that he made about $75,000 per drug run, per weed run here. So
he'd get 75. That's not bad.
He's making dough. Yeah, 75 grand in profit. You know, you do that once a month or twice a month. You got something fucking cooking there. That's a football salary now. You know, 10 times a year. That's $750 a year. That's a football salary.
That's enough.
That's plenty, and that's tax free here too. So that's no agent taking 10%.
Nobody gets to know.
No lawyer taking any money out of you. This does lose him a job here. He was supposed to be do a Cowboys-Falcons game there, and the
commentating
it. They were trying him out as a color man, and they said the other Brad Sham, the play-by-play guy, said, quote, "We were using a different ex-Cowboy as a guest analyst on every game, and Nate was going to join us for the Cowboys-Atlanta Falcons game coming up that Sunday since he lived near Atlanta. Early in the week, I got a call asking me if I had a new analyst yet. Nate's timing for getting arrested was not too good."
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Not great.
Yeah.
Now, Michael Irvin has the balls to say this, quote, "Hopefully God can save him." Fuck you. This is a guy who I believe was probably just getting off of probation for drug charges himself, for coke charges. Hopefully God can save him. If he saved me, he can save him.
Oh, he is really talking about God. I thought he was talking like some whore named God.
No, yes.
some whore they nicknamed God.
Yeah, some whore, but she's actually a nun. Yeah. But she's a woman, so obviously she's a whore, who we call God. You know how that works. April 2002 is court. He ends up changing his mind and pleads guilty. He's facing up to 20 years.
Whoa.
So they go, maybe you should plead guilty and make a deal here, because you don't have
a little less.
Let's get a little less here. Pleads guilty to federal drug trafficking charge, which is rough here. Under the terms of this agreement, he pleads guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to distribute and possess with the intent to distribute marijuana. The other charges, aiding and abetting to possess and distribute, will be dropped, they said. Newton will probably, with time served, they're expecting him to get about 30 months. That's what his lawyer says. His lawyer says, quote, "He really did feel he wanted to do the right thing by pleading guilty. He has great remorse for what happens. He should just feel stupid, but no remorse. He didn't hurt anybody.
He's also
fucking weed.
Born in the wrong time. I mean,
he could open up a dispensary and he'd be fine. He could go.
I mean, you can't call women whores now.
That's the other thing.
He's born in the wrong era, one way or the other. Backward or forward.
Like, all the whores. Right. Just all the, how that works. That wouldn't fly now. He also said that the Louisiana case is still active, and they're hoping to get that cleared up and get him serving the time there concurrently with this time and make it all one thing, basically. So he avoided a possible 20-year sentence and a $1 million fine, which was also on the table here.
That's tough.
That's tough. He, Deion Sanders was a character witness during sentencing. Yeah. He came in, and Deion,
that guy talking for
That's
you?
what you want, him coming in like with fucking
a mouthpiece,
chains on,
ridiculous suits with the shit that he says.
Yeah, how you doing? All right, there.
God, fuck.
Did he tell you about the whores? All right, no.
I don't want that guy's mouth open talking about me. I'll lose more money with him talking than Donald Trump.
He's just no shit.
The two of them, shut your fucking mouths.
Thank God Deion doesn't talk about the stock market. Or trade partners, we'd really be fucked.
Unbelievable.
Deion says, quote, "He's exhausted himself financially. The game has a funny way of chewing you up and spitting you out."
Yeah.
So they tried to get sympathy for him. So the sentencing is August of 2002. You, sir, may fuck off. 32 months in prison and a $25,000 fine. Okay. He said, while he was listening to his sentence, 32 months, he said that he knew he had to change everything. He said, quote, "They don't play around at that joint, the state prison. I slept on a concrete slab in a cell with 40 dudes, 1 toilet. I don't even like to think about that place."
Yeah.
He said, why he made the deal. He said, "I got down on my knees and I said, God, I want to make a deal. You protect me in here, and when I come out, I'll do everything I can to make it right." So he's finding God now.
And 39 dudes in the cell said, "Shut the fuck up!
Shut up, motherfucker! I'm trying to take a shit and jerk off at the same time." I don't know why you'd want to do that, but I figure you're in prison.
There's somebody doing that.
There's somebody shitting and jerking off and throwing both of the results at somebody.
I would have gone with product, but results so much better.
I like product.
So much more disgusting.
It's really gross. You're right. That it is. It's definitely
as long
gross.
as he's not using one to do the other.
Oh, no.
Boy, oh boy.
Good God. So, Jesus. He said in prison he hoarded cigarettes to trade them for Twinkies because he needs Twinkies. He said he would stand up for himself when he needed to because he's gigantic.
Right.
He said that celebrity didn't help him any in there. He would not accept guests. He said that he disassociated himself from members of his family when he was involved. He said the less they knew, the less they would be whatever.
Don't let him see me like this.
Yeah, he said he was like that when he was doing the drug thing too. He said he discouraged his kids from coming. He turned down meetings with Barry Switzer and Deion Sanders, told them not to come.
There's people shitting and jerking off in
yo,
here,
man, don't bring the kids. It's fucking disgusting. Yo, it's disgusting. They asked him if there was a low point in prison, and he said, there wasn't no low point. I mean, I didn't have fun in there, but I wasn't going to die either. See, people think you have to reach a low point and want to jump off a cliff or stab yourself or something, but I wasn't going to go there, brother.
That's not what they mean.
That's not what they mean.
They don't mean, did you want to kill yourself? They just, did you fucking open your eyes and go, Jesus, this is rock bottom?
Sucks.
That's what they want to know.
This is the worst my life has ever been.
Right.
Because I'm in prison.
The worst your life has ever been doesn't have to be the borderline of the end.
It
can just be, this is enough.
This sucks.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
When is enough enough, Newton?
When is enough enough?
God damn it,
With
Nate.
French fries and Twinkies and everything else. November of 2004, he's released from prison, and they said, what have you learned in prison? And he said, quote, I ain't learned nothing but one thing. I know damn well I ain't coming back. You know why? I find prison full of a bunch of whining, sorry, crybaby-ass men who made a bad decision, and now they don't want to live up to it and don't want to accept responsibility for it. Yeah, I made a mistake and sold 213 pounds of weed, and then guess what? I made the same mistake again, less than 2 months later. 5 weeks, actually. Come on, man. We don't have, make it. We don't have to deal in that foolishness. He's saying, take responsibility for your fucking actions.
Okay.
And he gets out of prison, responsible, loving the Lord, fat
as shit.
Feeling fat, feeling big, feeling good. Doesn't know what to do with himself, though, because he doesn't have a goddamn job now. Because before he was selling fucking weed. So now what's he going to do?
And he's got $25,000 in debt to the state.
He's got all his debt to the state. Lawyer bills piling up, I'm sure, to get him out of that. Probably a federal drug trafficking charge.
I'm sure
that cost a couple of fucking bucks there. He doesn't know what to do with himself.
Yeah.
He's sold his home.
Yeah.
He's in a smaller place. He doesn't know what to do. And then finally his prayers are answered. There's a knock at the door. And it's Vince McMahon, CEO and chairman of WWE, and he says, how is it you've come to arrive here? Look at you, you big, fat, beautiful bastard. Ah, oh, look at you. Oh, my goodness. Here, hold on a second. First, take your shirt off. Yeah.
That's a lot of time.
Let it all fall out, Nate. Butter it up for me. That's what I'm talking about. Now, let's try on these overalls. Your man breasts are leaking out of the side. That's not going to work. We're going to keep, you know what we're going to do? Oh, I know. We're going to keep you shirtless. We're going to make you like Kamala. We're going to paint shit on your stomach. You don't speak any English. You're from the jungles of Africa. How's that? We're going to do... No, Bobby Colorado's not happy with you. He's been trying, kept him outside. You tell him to stay away from my fucking dogs. That motherfucker. I'll get in there and kick his fucking balls in. Will you calm down, Bob.
We got our first wrestling match.
This guy with the dog. You versus Bobby Colorado and all of his dogs.
It'll be you.
It's a revenge match. They're going to maul you, rip you, limb from limb. And poof, in a cloud of independent contractor forms and 1099s and 1099. Cloud of 1099s, he's gone.
Cobra Insurance.
Fucking Affleck duck wandered by. He was like, what happened here? Let's go. Vince is very confused here.
Oh, Jesus. Vince, you cheap fuck.
You cheap son of a bitch. Oh, that's beautiful, man. So, 2004, he's out of jail. And what does he do? His life's in shambles. Yeah. He gets married.
Oh,
let's break every fucking rule. Who's Junior? Finding God in jail. Moving home. Getting married. He's doing it all, everybody.
Who the fuck is willing?
Michelle Murphy.
Yeah.
A woman he met at a nightclub shortly before he went to prison.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, I'm about to go to prison for drug trafficking. You want to hang out? What the fuck kind of come online is that? Wow. I'm going to be in the WWE soon. 2005, big old fluff piece.
Yeah.
DallasBlog.com.
A big fat one?
Big fat, juicy, fucking jizz-covered, shit-smeared fluff piece. Oh, man. He said that for 12 years, they're talking about his old style of life, and he says, old lifestyle, I guess would be a better way of saying that. Yeah. He says... What the fuck is wrong with me?
They made a word for that.
Stroke there. Yeah, they made a whole word for it. It's one word. It goes together. There's a condom brand and everything.
Whole style of
how that works.
You know what that is?
Yeah, it's a specific thing. If only there was a specific word to address that. That would be terrific. He says, for 12 years, I've lived on 2.5 hours sleep. That's the way I rolled. Butt naked booty humping.
What?
That's 2.5 hours of sleep because all night long he was butt naked booty humping.
That's why?
Butt naked booty bumping.
Booty bumping?
Booty bumping.
Okay.
Butt naked booty bumping.
I don't know what that means.
I think it means fucking.
In prison?
I hope not.
12 years
no,
now?
That means his first NFL career.
Yeah.
That's as long as he was in
Butt
there.
naked.
Butt naked. Booty bumping.
Okay.
All right, then. He said that he was a regional coordinator for some football camp. He said he has a good relationship with his ex-wife now, who says they have like a brother-sister relationship. Yeah. She said he never apologized for how bad he was to her, but she thinks he understands that he was wrong now.
And he did provide me with a story.
And I have a book because of it. Yeah. His kid here, Trey, is actually a star running back at a national power high school.
Hell yeah.
And he's coming up really well. Now Nate talks to the Tulane football team at this time, and he says, look at me and learn from my mistakes. Take control now or lose control later.
I like it.
So he's into that. He gets a job with kids at one point here.
No. I don't like that.
Seems like he'd be good with kids, though.
Yeah, but
unless they have some weed or
some fucking parent is saying, go talk to this.
Talk to the dog fighter.
This guy's been in prison.
He's been in prison. Go talk to him.
He's hardened.
He said, quote, I've said to myself, I've lived all these years without God. I flipped not one, but two, but 3 or 4 cars. We're talking high dollar cars. The only way I could have gotten through all this was because of his grace. And he's even saying grace for me. So thought about it. Here I am coming out of prison and I got nothing. Then all of a sudden I got a job. He says, you know what, God? I'm going to give you a try. I'm going to ride with you. As he said, he gave it a try, floated a prayer, and it worked. So he's on fucking board now.
Yeah.
Okay. September 2006, his son is rushed for over 1,000 yards as a sophomore in high school.
Rad.
And his team won the state title. And they're just talking about, he says that he gets tons of mail, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, TCU, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Iowa State are all...
you're going to say fucking tail.
He gets a lot of tail. Tons of tail. Whores everywhere. He says, right now, this early, I'm keeping my eyes open to everybody. He's a sophomore in high school, and he's just bombarded here. I haven't started thinking about visits yet. I just may stay home this fall and see if anything happens and see what I get from people. So, yeah, he for in 3 games, he had 335 rushing touchdowns and 335 yards and 2 touchdowns there. Okay. And November 2010, Nate loses a shitload of weight.
Really?
He comes out, loses 180 pounds in 6 months.
That is a lot.
That's a shitload of weight.
Has
surgery.
The same size.
Yeah, he had surgery.
Okay.
That's otherwise it's 30 pounds a month. That would be impossible to do.
That's moving.
That is really moving here. So he had surgery, vertical gastric bypass, whatever the fuck it is. You know what I'm saying here. He had his fucking stomach closed shut here.
Gastric bypass.
This is like the gastric sleeve one.
Oh, okay.
Which is like a stapling.
That's brutal.
75% of his stomach was removed in one of these operations here. They said that his surgeon said that losing that much weight that fast isn't the norm. But he says, quote, this is his doctor, it's not just the operation. Nate has been making really amazing, it's been really amazing in regards to the lifestyle changes he's been able to make.
Yeah.
So Nate's done a lot here. November 2010, his son Trey is playing running back for Texas Longhorns, like a huge major college. He decides he's quitting football due to multiple concussions.
He's already done.
He's a running back. He's already had so many concussions, and a lot of kids push anyway.
Right.
I guess Nate and Dorothy both told him to stop.
Yeah.
Nate said, hey, it ain't fucking worth it.
It's not.
Because Nate's done with football now, and he knows now my life is my life.
Yeah.
Your football only, told him football only lasts so long, and don't ruin your whole life over it.
You watched football with me every Thanksgiving. Look at fucking Troy Aikman's face.
Well, I mean, you as you dodged rib bones and fucking turkey legs and shit as they shrapnel flew from my mouth. So he quits due to multiple concussions there. So he has another son, King, who's also plays college football for a smaller school as well. So I mean, Christ, his son's concussed.
Yeah.
Came up without, we'll talk about some of the things he went through with his mom and his dad and all this shit.
Dorothy's been through the fucking ringer.
Dorothy has been through the goddamn ringer.
Wow.
All the whores of Dallas. I don't know. I feel bad for all these people, Jimmy, but not nearly as bad as I feel for...
Oh, for Christ's sake, it's so deep.
Nate Newton, a pipeline welder at Dean Certified Welding in Sacramento. Nate Newton, Northeast University finance and political science student here in the greater Boston area.
Yeah.
He says he's a driven Northeastern University student pursuing a BS in political science and finance. Look at you.
I dig whores.
Man, I dig whores. Nate Newton, who's a rapper, a white teenage rapper from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Nate, put the fucking mic down and go to fucking school.
He says he's 16 years old.
Oh, Jesus.
And surprised he's unsigned.
Yeah.
So you can find him. He's on Instagram and Snapchat. You can find that guy. Nate Newton, department manager at Fry's Electronics.
Yep.
And that's the worst job ever. So you must really suck if I feel bad for this guy here. And finally, Nate Newton, a bassist in the hardcore punk band Converge. He's also played in a bunch of other bands. He's like a well-known Euro metal bassist.
Poor bastard.
Looks nothing like Nate Newton.
Or he loves
Shocking.
cocaine and weed and horse.
He might. 2014, more fluff from Sports Illustrated.
How can you say anything nice about him at this point?
God. Austin Murphy. We'll ask him because he knows because he wrote the fucking thing.
He got snowed.
He got snowed. He's talking about
He's
that.
too young. He doesn't even know.
He doesn't know. He didn't know. Maybe he's 12.
Yeah.
We don't know. He's a child blogger.
ESPN blogger.
That's how it works. He said they're talking about how Nate has mentored high schoolers in Dallas, and he spent several days doing all this shit. Basically, that what a good fucking guy he is. He says, quote, "I was a wild man. When I die, brother, the world's going to be mad at me because I took everything it had to offer. But now he's real calm and everything's fine and all this shit." So while this fluff piece is going on, Dorothy keeps talking her shit.
Yeah.
And she says in an SI interview that the Cowboys had to have known about Nate's domestic violence, that they knew about it and looked the other way. She said that they're doing the same thing with Greg Hardy because this was after they signed Greg Hardy.
Right.
She said they knew about my shit and they didn't say shit. Now they don't care about Greg Hardy.
Right.
They're signing him. She said that from her book, she said that she was exhausted from taking care of the baby, but if she refused him sex, it meant an argument. She said once or twice he'd grab me and shove me against the wall to tell me that whatever. She said I put the car in gear to back out, and in a split second, Nate's fist crashed into the windshield, shattering it on the driver's side. She said one night Nate grabbed me by the hair and pulled me all around the house. She said she came home at one point and she wanted to leave him. And this was after a friend of hers went to the Cowboys and told them about the abuse.
Oh, boy.
Because Dorothy had told them. Yeah. And they did nothing except it did get back to Nate that someone said something. So they did
motherfuckers.
Nothing to help her, but Nate found out
danger.
about it. Yeah. So I guess she got home and she wanted to leave him, and she said Nate was waiting for her and shouted, "What the fuck are you doing?" at her. And she said she sat down at the table and she was ready for him to yell at her. And then she said she saw a rifle on the counter. So she said Nate yelled again and then grabbed the table and shoved it at her. She was pregnant at this point in time, by the way. And the thick glass tabletop broke away from the table and hit her in the stomach, which scared her, obviously.
Sure.
She said that she said, "You're sick, Nathaniel. You're sick." And because he always introduced himself as Nathaniel to her, which is creepy. She said that he took the rifle and pointed it at her head, pointed it between her eyes and said, "I'm going to kill you," held it in place, and then shifted it a few inches to the right and pulled the trigger and shot out their kitchen window.
Get the fuck out of here.
But right next to her head. Yeah. Buzzed her with a bullet and broke their kitchen window. Now, she said that she fell down and started screaming, and Nate ran outside. Now, by the way, outside, waiting for his mother, is little Trey. Little Trey was in the car. Dorothy had come from her friend's house with little Trey and said, wait out here until I come get you.
And he just shot.
And the kid was near the kitchen window outside trying to see what was going on. So he shot in the direction of where his son was outside like a fucking idiot. So, it's disturbing.
Yeah.
When they ask him about this, he says, quote, he doesn't deny it, but he doesn't accept response. He said, listen, he says, quote, a lot of times I would come home in a bad condition, mentally and physically, but nobody ever deserves that. I don't care what you do. I look back, man, and I ask, how big of a coward can you be? I had to be praying. I had to do a lot of praying about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. But you still did that shit. Fuck, man.
What a terrible fucking thing to say about that too.
That's awful.
I had to pray about almost shooting a fucking woman
shooting my mother
wife.
of my children. Yeah. And almost hit his kid by accident too. She said, Dorothy, that's when he came home and was extremely violent, probably the worst violence I've ever experienced. That's when he came home and shoved a custom-made kitchen table into my pregnant stomach. That was that whole thing. She said, I believe the Cowboys organization, I believe they knew that I was verbally abused. I believe they knew I was emotionally abused. I never shared the enormity of the physical abuse. And then her friend alerted them, and that's when this whole thing went down. Because that was when they found out. She said, I'm very disappointed, disheartened, and discouraged about what's happening with Greg Hardy at the time. So also, August of 2014, remember Josh Brent, the running back who fucking killed a teammate on the Cowboys, drunk driving?
No. Yeah.
Yeah, he intoxication on manslaughter charges. He killed teammate Jerry Brown Jr. in December of 2012. Michael Irvin and Nate Newton are going to advise him. They're going to be his big brothers and mentor.
That's the team?
That's the squad.
Wow.
Idiot 1, Idiot 2, and the whore guy.
What the fuck?
Jesus Christ. Ridiculous.
Who the hell co-signed? Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones, exactly. Nate says all you can do is give him support and try to direct him in the right way. Let him know what he's doing. Let him know what he's doing is a great thing, and you can only benefit him and the Cowboys alike. I'm a realist, man. Don't get caught up in we love you. Get caught up in I've got a second chance. Do I love myself? That's who you got to love. How about, fucking killed your teammates, stupid. Jesus Christ.
Take some responsibility.
That's what I'm saying, man. So August 2015 here, he hosts in September of 2015 at the Ferguson Auditorium at the campus of Texas A&M University in Commerce. He is for the Recovery Month Celebration Committee, Department of Psychology, Counseling, and Special Education here. They welcome guest speaker Nate Newton. Recovery Month promotes the societal benefits of prevention, treatment, and recovery from mental and substance use disorders, celebrates people in recovery, lauds the contributions and treatment and service providers, and promotes the message that recovery in all forms is possible. That's what they're doing here, and they're bringing in Nate Newton to talk about it. 2016, he gets into politics a little bit.
Oh, don't do that.
No, not running, just talking about the election. He says, now he was in the USFL, mind you, so remember the judgment and all that. He says, quote, all I'm going to say is if you all vote for Donald Trump for president, then the world is wrecked. He said, but because that's who wrecked the USFL. I love a man who can go out and be broke 5 times and come back and be as rich or better the next time, but he ruined us. The league should have still been around. The USFL should have never gone defunct. This shouldn't be something that would spring into the NFL if they had worked this right. Ain't no way in the world I'd vote for this dude. All he got me was $3. $3 on a lawsuit? Come on, Donald.
He said all that?
He said all that.
In a tweet?
In an interview.
Oh, okay.
And then Doug Flutie said the same thing. Okay. Doug Flutie said he's very reckless. I wouldn't let that guy run anything that he said the same thing as I played for him. And
Well, I mean, without that, well, maybe they would still be in the NFL.
Funny.
They may have still been at the NFL.
Well, that's true. Yeah, Flutie would have been somewhere. They would have caught on somewhere, maybe. Now, net worth of Nate at this point, celebritynetworth.com, which we all know is bullshit. They say I have $20 million, and that's, wow. Oh, God, I wish you wouldn't be hearing the sound of my voice if I had $20 million.
They think followers on Twitter are each worth $1.
Yeah,
that's what they think.
All $1.
Right.
they're all worth $10. They're all at $1,000.
What the fuck are they talking about?
$250,000 is what they have him listed at.
So they're dead wrong.
So they're wrong. He might not have anything.
$25.
Probably. Yeah. Well, can't get enough of Nate?
No.
Well, follow him on Twitter. He is not verified.
No?
Nope. At 61 Nate Newton. Unverified. He follows 14 people. He has 13.6 thousand followers.
That's not that's pretty impressive for a guy that hasn't been relevant in fucking 15 years.
And he's only liked 9 things.
Really?
9 likes and 5,000 tweets, though.
So he's a tweeting son
tweets
of a bitch.
A lot. Yeah. Also, why not rent Nate Newton? Bring him on in so he can call you all a whore right to your face. AthletePromotions.com. They have him listed under Christian athletes, football celebrities there. Corporate appearances, speaking engagements, autograph signings, endorsements, meet and greets, and keynote speeches. Call for booking fee.
Yeah.
So there. Call for your booking fee. And that's Nate Newton.
Yeah.
And
his
horror parade. Speaking of Christian athletes, by the way, I have to talk about Tim Tebow for a minute.
Yeah.
That was a great little segue there. I have to talk about this shit. I'll make it quick. I know the episode's running long here, but Tim Tebow recently said that he doesn't think that college athletes should be paid for any sort of anything, including endorsements.
Yeah.
Not even money from a college.
Of course not.
Endorsement money that is based on their worth because people are buying it based on them.
What would that do?
Yeah.
Why would that benefit them?
Who would that benefit?
Yeah.
Maybe kids who need the money. He went on to say, when I was in college, I had one of the top selling jerseys in the world and I didn't mind that I wasn't getting any money. Yeah, motherfucker, because you knew the second you got out of college, you could go around to every fucking mega church in the country and speak for enormous fucking fees. You knew that was coming. You knew you could do any fucking thing you want because you're a well-spoken quarterback. Handsome fucking dude. Some of these people don't have that. Some of them are lucky to get to this college. They know they're not there for fucking 4 years to get an education. They're trying to play fucking football. They're trying to support their families and help. They're not allowed to fucking sell their own image. They're not allowed to sell their own autograph.
No.
They can't take their own hand and write their own name on a piece of fucking paper.
Not if it benefits them.
And give that to another human being who's willing to pay for that. How is that American? I'm sorry, I don't know where you're listening from, but in America, with that's not American.
Capitalism.
It's not even that's un-American. The whole point of the whole fucking system is you can sell. We sell each other shit.
We sell wares.
You can sell anything you fucking want that's of you to someone else who's willing to buy it. That's the value of it. That's what our whole fucking system's based on, except if you're a college athlete. Then you're worth fucking nothing. They put this shit... Coaches get paid. Yeah. This is what's bullshit. Coaches, it's not like everybody's doing it for the love of the game. Right. Coaches get paid exorbitant $10 million salaries, plus radio shows and mansions near campus. All these fucking perks.
And all the perks, the fucking tea times and jets and shit they do.
Private jets. They get their asses kicked by the alumni. Yeah. All of this is for a bullshit front to not have to pay benefits to them as employees because if they're on the field, they make the WWE look fucking generous because seriously, at least the wrestlers are acknowledged as actually working for them, not maybe in an independent way, but at least according to the NCAA, college athletes are just carefree students who are having like a romp around the park.
Haphazard children.
Same as the kids who are playing fucking playing frisbee in the quad. Same exact thing. They just happen to be getting together with kids from other different schools in a good-spirited game of fun that happens to net these schools billions of fucking dollars. That's the problem. If a math scholar who's there on scholarship gets a job with some firm to do some outside work, not only are they allowed to do that, the college fucking brags about it and touts them as, look what you can do here. Look at how great our fucking program is. It's prestige, but not this shit. I can't believe the autograph thing is fucking ridiculous. Anybody... Dude, if you sell anything of that kid, they they
kicked out.
It's ridiculous.
You lose your scholarship.
It happens all the time.
All the time.
It's one thing. I said it's one thing if it's a threadbare thing where no one's making a dime, everyone's going around playing on fields with rocks on them and sitting in metal stands, and 300 people are showing up, and it's like minor league baseball.
Yeah,
that would be one thing. But this is a Very multi-billion-dollar business. These schools build $100 million gyms on their camp, $100 million athletic facilities, and give the kids
give them a stadium.
Shit,
nothing,
and give them not a fucking dime. And don't give me they get an education bullshit. What's an education worth wholesale? This is fucking America. Let's talk about real dollars and cents. Not what's that worth if retail. What does that cost to school?
Don't tell me what the loan is for the average college kid. Tell me what the kid that comes out of that college for playing football for you, what's that thing worth?
I get a drink at McDonald's costs $1. What does it cost McDonald's? A fucking cent and a half. That's my point. It costs the school nothing. So don't fucking tell me a chair is worth this guy having brain damage for the rest of his fucking life, and he's not allowed to collect a dime off of it. And if he does, he's treated like a fucking criminal. It's ridiculous. I hate hyperbole. Okay, it discredits everything. Things aren't equivocal.
No,
you can't say anyone's Hitler.
No.
Because it cheapens whatever you're saying.
Unless they're Jim Kelly.
Unless they're Jim Kelly, then obviously they're Hitler. But I hate it when people call people Hitler because Hitler is a very... It's the worst. It's huge. You can't do... Yeah, you have to say, you've done A and B. Now you have to do 5 more alphabets worth of shit to be Hitler. You know what I mean? It's one of those fucking things. Slavery's another one. It's insulting to people who actually had to fucking be under slavery to equate that. That said... What do you call $1 million a year or multi-billion-dollar a year business that uses completely unpaid labor to perform the duties essential to making that business said billions of dollars a year? Walmart? If there was one name for that, what would you call that?
Walmart?
Yeah.
Or slavery.
Or
it's goddamn slavery.
Or Hitler.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's Hitler's slavery.
It's Hitler's slavery. Fuck you, NCAA. Fuck the NFL for entering into this unholy, un-American, horseshit fucking agreement. And most of all, fuck you, Tim Tebow, you overprivileged Uncle Tom motherfucker. That's right. I fucking said that.
You are, sir.
You are. Fuck you. You're selling out these fucking kids that come after you. You could be a voice that could turn opinions on with people just in America to help these kids out with a little bit, and instead you fucking carry the ball for the other side, for the shit side. Go fuck yourself, you son of a bitch asshole. Thank you. Okay.
I don't believe you were a virgin.
No, and you weren't a virgin. You fucked mad dudes, and you know it.
Not like
fuck
a
Tim
lot,
Tebow.
like mad dudes.
Like mad dudes.
You held them down and did it.
And gunpoint with Eric Williams.
Were mad.
While they were very mad. That's Crime in Sports, everybody. That is Nate Newton and Tim Tebow and all that shit. Thank you for joining us. That's a crazy goddamn story. Whores and wildness there.
Men in service whores.
Men in service whores. Jesus Christ. If you like that show, very easy to tell us about that. You can go on Apple Podcasts, that purple icon, give us 5 stars. It helps drive us up the charts. We don't know why, but it really does. It makes a difference in their weird algorithm. Doesn't matter what you say they're making me do this, I'm following instructions. Doesn't matter, just help drive us up the charts. Go to shutupandgivememurder.com. You want to get some merchandise, t-shirts, mugs, tote bags, skateboards, we got it all. Everything is there. Come check that out. Also on the site, lots of tour dates coming up, especially for Small Town Murder. Most of them are selling out. Crime in Sports, April 8th in Nashville, Tennessee at Zany's. Be there. We announced it this week. You're not going to be able to get tickets in March. It's going to be sold out in the next couple weeks. It's a small venue, and we have literally the only Crime in Sports that's on the books. So if you want those tickets, I know it's 7 months from now or whatever, 6 months from now. Get them now because
sorry to put them on sale now for something so far away.
That's what they wanted to do, and we said, great, go for it.
They're there. Go buy them.
Do it up. Follow us on social media, of course, as well. You can do that. We are at Crime in Sports on Facebook and Twitter. And we are, at Small Town Murder on Instagram, because that's just more popular. So there you go. That's the one that works. So that, also, if you want to be one of our beloved producers.
Thank you guys so much.
God, people who we love more than anybody, and donate to the show. You can do that extremely easily by going to patreon.com/crimeinsports or heading over to PayPal and using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. And both of those wonderful places can be reached right from shutupandgivememurder.com. There's links there under the donate section, I think. So that's wonderful. With that said, Jimmie, I can't wait. Hit me with it. Tell me of all the men and whores who are our favorite people this week.
This week's executive producers are Jennifer Dedrick, Rebecca Valdez, Karen Lewis, Samantha Simmons, James Brian Templeton, Keith Chrisman, Erica Anderson, Christopher Borland, Britton Edwards, April Murillo, Stephen Rude, Kimberly Minkler, Chrissy-Ann Castaldi, and Jana. Oh, it's Jana Dickens. Thank you guys so much for everything you do.
Thank you, everybody.
We're here because of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Amazing.
Other producers this week are Brendan Abels. He donated both ways. Thanks Brendan. Laura Barber, Nicole Mayone, Kaylee McPhail, Kezia Garcia, Becca Sanchez. Didn't I just say that a minute ago? Yeah, no, that's Valdez. Sorry. Fuck. I'm
you racist bastard,
shit.
Jimmy.
Listen, you're right.
Ladies and gentlemen, my partner, Andrew Jackson.
Michelle Rayo Williams, Robin Roos, Alexander Jacobson, Rosio Hernandez, Joanna Nowajewski, Ashley Simpson, Matthew Novosel, Bradley Parks, Ashley Braden, Susan McWilkin, Jeremy Roost or Rust, Alexandra Zawicki, that's initials, B and a T. Luis Messam or Louis Messam, or Louise. No, there's no E. That's Louis. Victoria Chris Persinger, Kayleen, Abby Meister, Caro Maddie, Will Trendle, Kyle with no last name, Timothy Plasinski, Christine with no last name, Nikki Dunn.
Like, I'm going to leave it at that. Yep.
Casey Huffman in Omaha. Thank you, Casey.
Thank you.
Emily Schenkel. Sean Bob Kelly.
Hey.
That may be one name or three names.
Sean Bob.
Jen Murphy. Stephanie Shupter Hall. Hope Monterey. What did I do? I think it's Monterey. I think that's right. Jen Griffin, William Gerviler, Trey Litton, Dia Carey, I think. Deah. That's like Leah, but with a D, right? Dia?
Yeah,
it's got to be Dia. I think.
Yeah.
Derek Pearson, Marshall Walker. Karen Ray, Rachel Robbins, Craig with no last name, Nancy Markheimer, Maxheimer, Garrett Maddox, Anthony Caterino, Elizabeth Tyson, Richard Reyes, Ian Michaels, Stephanie Suika. I've got all this pressure on me to try harder, and it's not working. Bonnie Ramsey, Piers DeCourcy, Colby Moore, Barbara Wexler, Sarah Domazersky. No, Demaresk.
I'm a drunk when you say Demaresk.
William Hamer, Brittany Mejas, Mejas, Jaime or Jamie Garay, Caroline or Carolyn Steffens, Eve Ill. Nope, it's evil. That's what that is. But right. Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
Michael Bartholomew, Tree Smash. That's what that is. Jessica Lightke, T, no last name, no first name, just a T. Patrick Haberly, Lenore Hare, Kyra Bai, Cliff Brink, Jill Smith, Heather Morris, Erica Akiri, William Hickson III, Junior's Junior, Adina Goodwin, Katarina White, Anthony Ataninka, Michelle Garrison, Sharon Kirkpatrick, Homestretch Elizabeth Kelly, Trenton Walker, Keely Haig, Chelsea Running, I think it's Running. God, that's the easiest word. And Amy Thomas, Ashley Vio, Brando Marks, which I think, no, that can't be right. That's probably right. Mary Parrish Yancey, Ethan Baba, Ethel. I don't know if that's April Burridge, Linda Friend, Jane Greaser, Brittany Mencody, Ashley Legg, Margie Coonsey, got that one. Alexis Ohms, Amy Pajak, Armada Designs. That's why, because it's a business. Fuck. Sarah Hart, Jamie Kisk. No, Jamie K is a twat. That's what that one is. Okay. I don't know who she is, Jamie. But sorry, Jamie. I'm told that you are a twat from Amber Swisher. Kirsten Show, Allison Blazek, Aaron Fedor, Aaron Workman also, Mark Pfister. No, that's Foster. Angela Harden.
Fister.
Hardly know her. Jesse Hartman, Emily Stuck, Joan Pearl, Gary Howard. Again, thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Abdul John or Jan, Lauren Miller, Iron Tree Craftworks, Fran Hitsky in Australia. Sean and Edith Benson, Stacy Manley, Beverly Novak, Clay Thorson. He had a great vacation with his wife. Congratulations to the both of you. And that's Melissa. Natalie Bland, Greg Aote, Robert Willis, Jessica Laka, Allison Ray, Jacqueline Donaldson, Zach McCabe, Jay Hurst, or Holst, Tracy Renninger, Fayanez, Jordan Bennett, Zach McIntosh, Love Donation. I don't know what Love Donation is.
Well, thank you.
That's for loving us. Beth Grimwood, Nathan Little, Ellie Hennessy, Robin Anderson, Dominique Ashcraft, Ida Marie Tall, Adina Hampton, I said that, Gabrielle Rebus, Joe White, and Blogorama. Thank you guys so much for everything you do.
Thank you, everybody, from the bottom of our hearts.
Yeah.
We love you so much. That's some thunder in the background.
Raining.
We have a major thunderstorm here in Phoenix, and our studio is totally soundproof except for deep thunder. That just penetrates the ground. Yeah, it's crazy. So if you hear some rumbling, that's that. What if people wanted to rumble toward you, Jimmy, call you a whore? How could they do it?
You can find me at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks, on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And I love hearing from you guys. Thank you so much. Where can they find you?
I am at Jimmie P is funny. Just copy and paste my last name from the show description and do it that way if you want. Search for me. You can find me like that. But nice to talk to all you guys, and thank you for all of your kind and not so kind and every other kind of words that you give us. We appreciate it very, very much, and we're going to keep coming back over and over and over, everybody. And until next week, everyone, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.